Whoa, you gonna get that, bro?
They heard the hum of our motors. They counted the rotors and waited for us to arrive.
Compound B.
And we will all go down together.
Bees? Welcome back to Compound B, a show about the boys. I am Jamie G, and while I'm not a huge fan of nut milk, I'm nuts about the boys, and I'm here with my boys, the Soup and MM, to discuss the Frenchman, the female, and the man called Mother's Milk. The penultimate episode of the show here. Soup, are you ready to rock and roll with only one episode left?
Yeah, I hate that there's only one episode left, and a lot of questions, of course, and that's how it should be going into the last episode. I feel like it's been like that all season. Like, what are we gonna do with all this? How are we gonna wrap all this up? And here we are at the last episode, or approaching the last episode, and I'm even more like, how the fuck are we gonna tie up these loose strings here? I don't think it's gonna have anything to do with nut milk. Although when I think nut milk, dude, I think it's totally different than milking an almond, so to speak. But either way, does it even exist? Do boneless chicken wings exist? Does nuts milk exist?
Those are the big
Milk,
questions that we're asking here. And also, nut milk is probably a great punchline to a dice joke from the late 80s, early 90s, something like that. I'm sure
Thick
somewhere
and
in there, there is a fantastic nut milk joke here. We're not going for those. We're just here to talk about the buys. Thank you for joining us here on Compound B, a show about the boys. I am Magnum Mills. We are presented by Regular Dudes Watch Stuff. Thanks again for checking out the show. You can find our content wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. We're on social media at Dudes Watch Stuff, on the web at dudeswatchstuff.com. Very simple, very easy to remember, just like the flaps, FLAPS. Follow, like, and please subscribe. If you had the fun, please press the thumb.
From this point on, there will be full spoilers for all aired episodes of The Boys, Gen V, and The Boys Diabolical. Interviews, articles, it's all fair game for discussion here. We will not be discussing any leaks or spoilers that are out there of future things happening. We're not doing any of that. And if you don't know, now you know.
This is The Frenchman, the female, and the man called Mother's Milk, Season 5, Episode 7, the 39th overall episode of The Boys. Originally released May 13th, 2026. Directed by Sylvian White. This is the first episode of the show that he has directed. Written by Anselm Richardson. This is fourth overall written by credit on the show. Third solo written by credit. 3 special guest stars this week. 2 we've had before. Jensen Ackles as Soldier Boy and Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Joe Kessler. But joining the gang, we have Samuel L. Jackson as Xander the Shark. Bunch of guest stars here, starting with a couple of peeps from Gen V. We have Jazz Sinclair as Marie Moreau and London Thor as Jordan Lee. Past that, we have David Andrews as President Calhoun, Zach McGowan as Dognut, Langston Kerman as Eagle the Archer, Eli Henry as the Worm, Stephen Yaffe as Synops, Emma L. Patterson as Sheline, and Marissa McIntyre as Home Teamer Rachel. The synopsis, according to Vought, is: warning. Exercise caution when entering soundstage. Performers may be using superpowers.
We're going to open things up with our overall thoughts on the penultimate episode here. Soup, there was a lot to take in. Did you like the episode, and did it make you feel good about the show heading into the series finale?
I don't think it made me feel good. It just, I don't think it's there. No. I didn't think I'd be happy with this episode going into it, but I mean, I'm not happy with it. Just knowing that there's only, I knew at the end of this one that I would have a lot of frustration going into the finale, and that's kind of where it's at. So I got what I expected out of it. Looking back, everybody's going to be, most people are going to probably find a whole lot of things that they wanted out of it or could have had. There's going to be a lot of complaints, and there probably will be more after the finale. That's just how usually shows like this work when they're winding down and shutting the door on it. But either way, man, it was a good episode. It's not what I wanted out of it, but I don't think anything would have been really, so.
Yeah, a lot of expectations here, kind of a lot of the weight of those expectations. What do you think, Jamie G? Overall thoughts on this one? Did it live up to kind of the weight of the expectations of what you were hoping for out of the penultimate episode of the series?
the expectations are so high that I don't know that it could have. It did a lot of things well, and it executed some critical things that it kind of moved it along. But I think overall, I'm a little bit worried about them landing the plane here. It just feels like there's a lot to do. I wanted this to get its just, man. It's worthy of it. It is so much more than just a setup for a spinoff. And I think that's my biggest worry here is that we're just not going to get it. Um, Again, it wasn't terrible by any stretch. It did a lot of things well. It was entertaining as shit. I liked it, but it doesn't give me a warm fuzzy heading into just one to go here, man, for all the marbles. So just it's tough.
It's kind of the gift and the curse of both the world building and keeping all of the main cast, especially the boys, around for so long that there's so much to service here. We want a good portion of the episode. We want to know what happens with Ryan, with OG Ashley. I mean, hell, I'd like a little bit more from the legend. You know what I mean? They've built out stuff so far. I want closure on those fronts, and just watching this, it just by the time we get about halfway through this episode, I'm like, boy, there's just no way they're going to get there. Like they're going to just have to leave a lot of balls in the air. I mean, maybe they're going to kind of salvage the Gen V thing. We'll talk about that when we get there, but it seemed like they were really going to undercut Marie, but Andy comes back at the end. So perhaps they can kind of still salvage that storyline. I mean, overall in this episode, you read some of the criticism online. They're like, nothing happened. I mean, what do you mean nothing happened? Homelander killed the president. Ashley is now the president of the United States. Frenchie died the first time a member of the boys. A lot happens in this episode. The Deep is banished, both from the Seven is disbanded. The Deep can't go in the sea. In reality, a ton happens in this episode. I think, like Jamie G said, though, there was just so much they had to do. The expectations were so high. It was going to be almost impossible to clear that bar. So I think they kind of wrote themselves into a corner a little bit. You look at some of these other shows, especially recently, we talked about, have really kind of nailed the landing. I think when you look at even a Succession, a Breaking Bad, like sure, the scope of the worlds is big, but at the end of the day, they're only focusing on a couple of characters. Here, you're going to have to really pay off like a dozen characters. And I think that's why we saw the Worm character as a writer basically lampshading that, be like, well, how do you want me to service 26 characters in a finale that's only 75 minutes? Practically, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. So I think I'm there with y'all. I was a little bit waning in terms of confidence on them landing the plane last episode. Here, I'm now down to, I'm going to generously call it a coin flip. I'm going to go 50-50 on that they give me a satisfying finale. Jamie G, I'll kick it back to you. Where are you at in terms of a percentage on the boys are going to give you a satisfying finale, 0% to 100%?
Again, they didn't commit like a mortal sin or anything here, so I'm going to still give them the benefit, but not by much. I'll say 65-35.
What do you think, Soup, in terms of a percentage here? How confident are you that they can give you a satisfying series finale next week?
I'm not as much as I was, just because there's so much there, man. Like I do have faith in the team here, but I'm dropping down a little bit too, man. I think 60-40 at best, man. Probably more like a 70-30. We'll call it in the middle, 75 whatever, the other 25, whatever the fuck, 35. I don't know. Do the math.
Yeah, so in other words, it's definitely declined quite a bit. I think especially after the season premiere, which we all really, really enjoyed. And there's been some other episodes in there. I think, One Shots was also a highlight. There's been some fun stuff in the season, but there's just been so much stuff kind of, for better or worse. It's tough to kind of jam it all in there. So I think we're all kind of on the same page. It was a good episode in a vacuum, but as a penultimate episode, especially as the penultimate episode of The Boys, just feels like it came up a little bit short. Maybe it's not the fault of the episode because it was such a high mountain to climb, but nevertheless came up a bit short.
Yeah, and there's just a couple of things too, like, and they're not new problems, but it's just some of the inconsistencies really showed up here for me. And but to your point though, so much did happen in this huge, massive, world-changing events happened in this episode, but it still didn't feel like enough. So let's get into it, guys. I think we're here, boys, ready to dive in to the seven for the Frenchman, the female, and the man called Mother's Milk.
Oh, don't cry. One day all seven will die.
Let's start out at number 7 with the guy who doesn't really interact with the rest of the plot throughout the episode. That is the Deep. I want to say just before we get into anything else, A Train died the first episode of the season. Did have a funeral. MM gave him a little shout out later on. Was forgotten fairly quickly. Noir gets like two lines from Deep to Homelander. That's it. He's done. That's probably the end of Noir on the show. That feels bad. It just feels like they never gave enough weight to the seven themselves. So maybe it's not surprising Homelander's going to disband the seven. That was kind of a fun running gag that, like, look, there's never really been seven heroes in the seven for that long, anyways. So, I guess it is what it is. Jamie G, we're going to complain, I think, somewhat about the writing in this episode, but I will say this is good writing in that it's a very nice parallel to the Firecracker arc. We saw her kind of go all in on Homelander. She gave up everything else. Ultimately, Homelander just discarded her incredibly easily. Here, same thing for the Deep, right? I think shout out to Chase Crawford. Excellent acting in that scene with Homelander. Like he's like, "This is all I have left. I've given up anything I've ever had." I think this is kind of appropriate for the Deep, but again, good writing here with the parallel, kind of like you should learn your lesson at this point. Maybe don't give it all to Homelander. Soup, what did you think about the seven being disbanded here and kind of leaving Deep in a situation where he only has the ocean left, and we're gonna talk about that pretty soon. Even that's not going to be an option.
The Deep has been one of the biggest douchebags since the beginning of this fucking show, man. And right now, I feel bad for him, man. But it's he's in a really rock and hard spot kind of situation there, man. And if nothing else, the way this show one big heavy hit that it had was kind of like portraying that how badly the Deep's being fucked right now. Like the Deep's being fucked pretty deep, dude.
We're not sure about the speed or whatever, but the depth feels high. JBG, how did you feel about this, man? Like,
He's getting bottomed out.
Yeah, I really like this because kind of our fallback plan for the Deep was, well, worst case scenario, he'll just go be the Lord of the Seven Seas and just go and be back in the ocean, right? And then now you're realizing, dude, that's been taken from him too, and he has no place in the seven or in the superhero world. He has no value to anything. So it's really bad. It'd be one thing if he could just go back into the ocean and live under the sea, but he literally can't, man. So I think it's about as bad as it could possibly be for him, honestly.
Andy's on his own, dude. In another way, like he's totally on his own, like in the entire world. But also another thing, there's no other soups that we have seen as far as since the beginning of the show that have water powers, really. Nobody else has
Yeah, he's
water.
like the only aquatic based
Only
hero we've
aquatic,
seen.
yeah, only
Yeah.
aquatic soup there is, man. So he's really feeling the loneliness there, man.
I know sometimes we struggle to figure out what's irony and what's satire, but when Homelander tells Deep to stop making this all about yourself, I did get a little bit of a tinge of an Alanis alert there. I'm pretty sure that was ironic. And
Yeah.
I don't know if Samuel Jackson showing up as a hammerhead shark, as Xander the Shark, was ironic, if it was frivolous. I loved every second of this. This is a case where I think at this point of the episode, the first time I was watching it, I think I had to walk the dog in the middle of watching the episode. So I was watching on my phone and I didn't have like the full x-ray up and I hear the voice. I'm like, is that Samuel Jackson? Jamie G, did you enjoy Samuel as the shark? And do you think this is a case where the boys went out they went out to him, they had to pay to get him, or Samuel Jackson like called the boys up and was like, yo, can I get on your motherfucking show?
Yeah, he probably did it to like let me golf 20
Yeah,
some
golf's always
holes.
involved for Samuel, huge golf.
Yeah, this was probably a fun voiceover for him. He's probably a fan of the show. I'm sure the boys did something for him, but it worked so well. I love this part. It was great to catch his voice in there, and you really started to get that, get it coming out there at the end too. Remember March 15th? I mean, it was just great, man.
Soup, did you enjoy Samuel as Xander the Shark? And do you think Samuel picked the name as Xander as the name of his character?
I think that is quite possible because if Samuel L. Jackson,
It's got an X in it. X's are cool.
yeah, wants something and is going to be in your show and is like, man, I want to pick the name of the shark. Who wouldn't be like, nah, fuck that, dude. We already got that
I
figured
guess
out.
Sam the Shark has good alliteration, but I think Xander as a hammerhead just sounds cooler. Like it's got the head kind of like
Xander? Oh yeah, it's a great name for a
That's cool.
hammerhead shark,
Great,
dude.
great
So whoever came up with the name for the shark, fucking good call. Samuel L. Jackson being the voice of the shark, fucking sick, dude. I loved every minute of that, and it was a great scene for one, also, and just him being that voice. it just worked, man. You know, I mean, it was
But how he
definitely
tries to
fun.
get deep to dive in to get the can, like tries to actually
Yeah.
like get him to like, and then just the way he tells him like water is off limits to you again. Great acting by Chase Crawford throughout this. One thing I like is he is true to his brand, Jamie G. He is a true believer. He's not there, in most movies, most shows, you'd be there, you're drinking a 40, drinking a six pack of beer or something. No, the deepest pounding energy drink still. He's still just
Was it
pounding
was
those
it
A
A Train's
trainers.
drink though?
Yeah,
I
he's just
tried to
pounding
zoom
those
in.
A trainers. So
Yeah.
and any thoughts as Soup? Like, is the Deep now officially done as a hero? We're assuming when he failed to save that dude's pop that seemed like that was being filmed for social media. Is this it for the Deep as a hero then? Like, is he gotta like do something else because there's no going
He's
back?
definitely fucked. I mean, the thing is, he's just fucked. He's just all over the place fucked, man. Like, it's more than a
Yeah, every room of the
two-seater at this
house. Yeah, it's in every room of the house.
point.
Every room. It's the JBG. Is that the
Well, I'll give
curtains
you
for
one thing.
Deep?
I'll give you one out. He's got one thing. He can either go curl up and be a hermit and die under a rock, or he can reach out to the boys and he can join their cause and try to find a way to create some sort of value for himself and bringing down Homelander. And
How can he
that's the
without fucking you
only.
being able to use water, dude? You know,
I mean, he could still use it. He just can't go in it.
what's he gonna do with it?
Just give people glasses of water. He'll be there on the side, like,
I don't think he can create tsunami. I don't know if he can create a tsunami or anything like that. I don't think he's got that, you know. But
well, we'll
I
see. I
mean, I don't know.
mean,
You take his power away, what good is he gonna be to you? You know.
it's spoken like a true corporatist here. Stan Edgar would love you. It's all about adding value, dude. If you're not adding value, what are you doing? What we are doing is moving on to number 6 of the 7. We're going to live that vault life, kind of talk about Homelander, the stuff in the Oval Office, and the stuff with Soldier Boy. We got it in the trailer. We are waiting. This is kind of a thing from the comics here. Homelander in the Oval. Jamie G, do you think it was a big enough deal that Homelander killed the president, or was it the fact that we were expecting it so much kind of took away from the ultimate weight of the moment?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it is a monster moment. And the fact that this show, and I know one of the biggest critiques out there is people don't like how political the show is, and that's fine, but you're ignoring the fact maybe it's not the show for you because it's super political and it's a whole thing with it, right? And so to me, this is such a monster moment, and they've done so much to create this big world, right? And have it parallel the real world to an extent. And this you can't, I mean, how do you even explain this, right? Like what, it's just unbelievable when you really think about it, man. And the fact that our girl Ashley is now sitting president. I just, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, let's face it, Homelander's president, but you know, it's something.
Zoop, what do you think about the Oval Office action here? And do you think that it had enough weight that Homelander killed the president, or do you think this was kind of just a foregone conclusion?
It was one of those, like, it could have been a double damn moment, and it kind of is. But was it super shocking? No, because for one, that president was absolutely fucking useless. Anyways, nothing but a figurehead. Even worse than even worse than usual in real life. Like that's a president with fucking zero power right there. You know. So I mean, I was not surprised when Homelander was just like, all right, fuck this guy, Ashley and Bashley. You know, they can be the president now. Homelander can be the god. That's his. That's probably his fucking vision. So I think that's why he did it, man.
Jamie G, did it surprise you either that Ashley Bashley chose to read the president's mind, or the fact that he wasn't actually a true believer? Did either of those things surprise you?
It surprised me that she kind of went about it the way she did. In the end, she saved herself, right? Because I don't think she really wanted to throw him under the bus completely, but the way she said it, it kind of, I think he was dead no matter what, because I think Homelander already made up his mind on him. I think Homelander already had the answer. He just wanted to force Ashley into showing that she's on his side, right? And so I think he already had the answer.
I think that's a smart read of this situation. Soup, did you enjoy the reveal of the president, even just for a couple seconds, getting to see Bashley when Homelander whips the wig off? I thought that was pretty excellent. Shout out the actress, Colby Minife. She's been great all season, kind of portraying the physicalness of having, Ashley and Bashley. I thought, again, well done here, right?
Yeah. She's been really doing a great job with the backwards actions there, man. But yeah, even that scene, and yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, the you could the visuals from the actor playing the president as well as
Yeah.
the element of surprise there, just like, that was pretty solid. Did his role very well there, man. But so the character anybody's gonna miss, not really. A useless character,
Well, I mean, Homelander's got some action items here. You might call them non-negotiables, as Carmi did on The Bear. Homelander says that the Democratic Church of America is now the official national religion based around the one true God, which is, of course, him. All barriers between the church and state must be abolished. Troops must be sent into every city that harbored Starlighters. There's going to be an executive order banning abortion, an executive order making breastfeeding mandatory. And of that note, no more nut milk, because not sure if that's really nut. Homelander says
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was making you think nuts were milk.
that's kind of a deep cut to get to the Kaiser Soze of it all, but we're not sure if the nut milk is really milk. And also, while you're at it, get rid of Congress. That's also better for freedom. What do you think they're doing here with Bashley? Do you think she's really out? Like, she kind of nopes out at the end of this, says, you know what? All right, I'm going to leave you forever. What do you think, Soup? Kind of early prediction here. Are we getting anything more with Bashley, or is she really going to go dark in the finale?
I will be highly disappointed if we never see if we get nothing else out of Ashley, dude. Like, what the fuck? I feel like there should be, and so
Yeah,
I'm
same.
hoping.
What do you think, Jamie G?
Yeah, dude, how can we not? I mean, it's here's the other thing. I think she realized there, she finally got her freedom from her, Ashley, but I think she realized without that superpower, she was just sitting here saying, I'm so proud of myself because I lived, right? You know how hard it is to live. Without that superpower, she might not live. I mean, what use is her, what use does she have? Homelander's going to ask her to use it, and when she doesn't or she can't, it could create a real issue for her, I think. So I think we're gonna have to see it.
See, that's interesting because the show has been, I think, deliberately opaque on the powers at certain points. So you think that really the process is Bashley reads someone's mind and then relays that to Ashley in terms of like the voice she hears in her head? Is that how you think her power works? And I'm genuinely asking because
Yes.
I'm not sure. Okay, Soup, is that how you thought it worked, or do you think like Ashley can read minds on her own?
No, I think the pow
Right, that
the
Bashley can
tumor on the
do it.
back of her
Right,
head
yeah.
is reading the mind. Yeah.
Right, and
And then
then
telling it.
relaying that information to her. So
Yeah.
theoretically, if Bashley goes dark, that takes away her superpower. Soup, is that how you thought it worked for her? Because I
I think that
legitimately didn't really think about it.
Yeah, I think that's probably how it works, man. I mean, and maybe not. They're pretty vague on the specifics to the powers, but from what I gather, I would my guess, my money would be on that's how it works.
I would like it that to be the way it works because then it adds a lot more weight to it. If she can still read minds and she just like doesn't have her as an advisor or something like that, I think it's less fun that way. So I'm kind of hoping that's the way it goes down. We get one scene with Soldier Boy here, and man, oh man, this dude is just like a quote machine. We have called it before, but everything between like snorting and fucking his way through the Banana Republics, getting a 3-star Michelin chef only to order meatloaf and chili. Homelander's too weird. I mean, he goes through it all. It's not you, it's me. Absolutely fantastic. But at the end of the day, back in the tube, which I feel like we called, like we said, look, they're keeping the tube there. Totally a reason. Of course, wouldn't it be ironic if Soldier Boy goes back in? Jamie G, did you enjoy what we got from Soldier Boy and Homelander? Did it bother you at all that Homelander was able to kind of subdue him so easily? And, are you okay with him going back in the tube?
I liked a lot of this because one, I loved Homelander's like golden retriever excitement about the theme park, but then also his comment of this is where we're gonna say we were visited by the like admitting that it's actually not real, like in his own like so he actually knows that none of this is all just BS, right? Like there wasn't some divine thing. So I like all that. Love the commentary back and forth between Soldier Boy and Homelander. Loved Soldier Boy going through all the different forms of breakup here. Ultimately, though, I cannot stand. I mean, I absolutely despise the fact that they spent all season hyping up how strong Soldier Boy is here, and he actually had the strength edge on Homelander, which is what we were kind of meant to believe. And then now all of a sudden he can just a basic chokehold. He can just completely knock him out and put him in there. And the fact that like Soldier Boy didn't even fight back, to me, this one was a reach, dude. I think they needed to engineer something much better for him to win a battle to get him in there. Something, dude. Like I don't know, man. That one was tough for me.
I think I'm with you on that. It at least needed to be a little bit more epic. Super, are you okay with how easy it seems to be for Homelander to subdue Soldier Boy and stick him back in the tube, which we know is like the last place he wants to be? It seems like he'd rather be dead than back in that tube. He's been very clear about that too.
The only thing that would make sense to me is if Soldier Boy predicted this, and that's maybe why he poked the bear, so to speak, and was like whatever, and kind of submitted to it. Maybe there's another plan. I hope anyway, because if
Yeah,
not,
I
if that
think
just
that's a
happened,
lot of
like
what
what the
the problem with
gonna
this
do?
episode is. Like we're hoping it's more complex than that.
Yeah,
Like we're hoping it's not just surface level, and I think the big fear is that what if it is just surface level? But at the end of the day, maybe they're just promoting Vault Rising. Maybe it is what it is. But just hearing Soldier Boy deliver some of these lines, the whole bit where he calls Homelander out about just like having wet dreams about some chick with big juicy tits.
And I love you're not a god, and then Homelander's response, I am God, right? Like the one of one. Yeah, he just kind of created this in his own mind, right? And it comes from his lack of, you know, having any parental guidance in his whole life, and it's like that's all the deep-rooted stuff with Homelander, right? And this is kind of his way of overcoming all that. But yeah, I love Soldier Boy's commentary, dude. Like I hope he's not shut down for the series finale. I mean, we've been leaning on him this season for a reason. Like that would kind of suck.
Yeah, we'll get to that in predictions, but I'm with you there. I'm certainly hoping this is not the end of Soldier Boy. Soup, let's just assume it's a really good world. You're a three-star Michelin chef. You're hired by the Homelander, one of the biggest guys on the earth. Your only job is to cook for Soldier Boy. All he orders is meatloaf and chili. Are you embracing that or are you pissed?
for me, I wouldn't like that, man. If somebody would be like, "Oh man, it's super easy. That's all I got to do." It would take away my, it would take away the inspiration, the passion, the love for it. It would kill all that.
Or
So
you'd start using a lot of weird meats, right?
if they would allow, can I make you a different meatloaf every day? Cool. Eventually, I'll get sick of that too. But
Remember
at
the
least
Sunny episode where Charlie and Dee think like they ate human meat, so they're trying all the weird kind of meats or something? Maybe you could do it for
you got a
that.
human meat guy.
Yeah, we got Monkey, dude. We got Monkey. Let's move on to number 5 of the 7. We need to talk about Sage, and we need to talk about the fourth quarter Hail Mary here. Apparently, what Butcher and Frenchie have been working on is giving Kamiko Soldier Boy's kind of like blast powers, depowering powers, whatever you want to call it. This feels a little fast and loose to me. I mean, they really call it out. They lampshade it here. They point out Sage, especially. This is a turducken fourth quarter Hail Mary, overcooked, never going to work. Bothered me a little bit, especially because they've built up so many other things, the Flight 37 video, the virus, all this stuff. Jamie G, would it bother you if this is the thing that wins, like so late in the game to be introduced? Like, are you okay with that, or is this a little bit too much?
Well, like many things here, how did they get the whole thing there? Like like the radiation generator, like how did they move that whole thing there? That's the first thing. And then they've got, it's like, yeah, we've got the smartest person, but she wasn't doing anything to help it. It was basically all Frenchie. So is Frenchie the world's smartest person? I mean, I don't know, man. A little bit bothered by it. Like we spent a long time on the virus. That's pretty much a moot point now. And for them to just come up with this thing kind of in the penultimate, and if that's what actually saves the day, it's a little loose.
How you feeling, Soup? Is this like a Hail Mary you're okay with if they connect on, or would this be like a little bit of a bridge too far, maybe feel like a little bit of lazy writing?
Nah, I don't know, man. I hope it doesn't go that way. What I'm thinking, dude, is, this is a Hail Mary, man. And it can't be loose. It's got to be a tightly tied up, perfectly cooked turducken to be able to pull this fucking Hail Mary off, man. Could it happen? Yeah. It's interesting. It's on the table. I like that. Yeah.
Mills, it feels a little bit like he runner sucking you out on the river, dude. That's what it feels like. Just a
But
little
you
bit.
always can, fall victim to that unless you're holding
Yes, you
the
can.
absolute stone cold 100% nuts. It can always go another way. I thought one of my favorite parts of the episode was ultimately, even though I don't know if it's really earned, we could talk about that, but the whole way Butcher tries to sell everyone on it, it helps that Kamiko was like, this is her choice. But Butcher, I mean, maybe it's just the fact that he says that they're doing this through a consistent application of scientific methodology. I don't know why, but hearing Butcher like drop down to being like extremely official and trying to sound like he knows what he's talking about kind of worked for me. The whole bit about him talking about the research they nicked from the Russians called them the donkeys, and that was pretty good. Till she tit blasts Homelander, bees and fucking honey. I thought all that was good, but again, Butcher. Ultimately, he's got two pep talks here. First, he just says, "Hey, if you can't, if at first you don't succeed, find another hole to fuck." That in itself, which is good, it feels like
Big one.
something that would have come more from Tech Knight. But then we get the big callback to season two. Butcher gives another Spice Girls speech. Soup, what did you think about this? Butcher here. Do you think he did enough to sell everybody on doing this? Did you like the callbacks here, or did it feel a little bit forced?
I'd give it a good mix of both, man. I mean, I liked them, but at points, sometimes it did feel like it was kind of jammed in there a little bit. I mean, not enough lube on that one.
Yeah, you'd have to ask Sage about that. I think she has some in stock. Jamie G, how do you feel about Butcher here? I think you could argue after we watched the season 4 finale, this would have seemed kind of impossible that we're here back again. Butcher giving Spice Girl speeches to the boys, but did it work for you?
Yes. I really like this one. I actually thought it was spot on, and I love the reaction from Frenchie, MM, and Annie and them, and then Butcher's kind of response to all that. I did like this one, man. I thought it was good, and just anytime we can get Butcher saying like a couple hundred words all at once, pretty sweet.
I do enjoy the idea that he has done this much research into the Spice Girls. Like he has a Google News alert set up for Posh Spice or something like that. So I'll go ahead and go with it. You are right. Like as far as when you mention all the radiation stuff, if you stop to think about it, none of this is going to work. That like Kamiko should be, even if she's healing, she should be radioactive. Like, yeah, it's just you're just gonna have to go ahead and suspend your disbelief on that one. So, I think you can again make the argument that at the end of season 4, we didn't think they were just gonna all of a sudden get the gang back together. It's been fun for the most part doing it, but it does feel like they were a little bit hesitant to kind of break up what had worked. Adding Sage to the mix is interesting. One of my favorite parts of the episode was hearing her initial breakdown when she actually was like, "Oh shit!" Like I didn't see it coming with Thomas Godolkin because it seemed like she really loved him. She didn't see it. I think that was a little piece of closure from the second season of Gen V that I had been looking for. That was some of the better writing. Like in this episode, I think there's a lot of disconnect between Gen V and this season of The Boys, but I think here that kind of held up for me. I thought most of the stuff with Frenchie and Sage was fun. Frenchie gets in a couple of good licks. Sage gets the great ending of the one where she's just generously applying lube to the Starlighter dildo that we saw back in, or whatever, vibrator, or whatever, the Starlighter that we saw back in season 3. Jamie G, did you like the interactions here between Frenchie and Sage? And, I know you're not a big fan of the big brain, but are you kind of okay with her at least like being like, the radiation advisor?
I liked Sage in this episode, and I guess I'm okay with it. They're trying to figure out a way to use her. We got some fun out of her with the whole scene there with the Starlighter and everything. But I also think having her point out that her biggest weakness was love, and then lobotomizing herself, and then because she was dumbed down, she realized that she actually wanted to stand for something. And her conversation with Frenchie, I think, was pretty good. A desperate Frenchie at that point too. So I'm okay with it. I'm not a fan of this superpower because I just think it's a cop out. It doesn't really work, and I think the show has proved that with Sage. I think overall Sage has been a failure, in my opinion. But I liked it in this episode. They're trying to do something. I'll give them that.
Fair enough. I mean, talk about a major Alanis alert in terms of irony. Sage hates love, can't understand love, can't get enough of Love Island. Soup, what do you think about the interactions between Frenchie and Sage here? Does it make sense? And you're kind of okay with the way they've gone with Sage here after kind of her, ghosting on Homelander?
Here's what I think about Sage, dude. I don't know, man. Like she's the guy on the couch right now, She's not contributing nothing. She's not willing to help. She's shacking up with the guys, Like the fuck are you even doing here, man? Like, she fucked up, and they're in a situation like this because they took her word for shit, and now they're fucking, now they're in the situation they're in. That's bullshit. And you're letting her just crash out and not even fucking help you. Like, fuck you, man. Like, either fucking pay up or get the fuck out. Like, I don't know, man. That's kind of like that situation there is one of those, but it's frustrating, man. It's frustrating. But, at the end of the day, I think she came through. Maybe she's going through a little bit of a funk. She's going through a funk. But if there's a way she can figure out how to, like, help save the day at the end of things, like, maybe she can redeem herself. But
Do you
right
think
now,
she's got to come around a little bit at least? Like maybe she
come
has
around a
kind
little
of
bit at
made
least.
peace with maybe Frenchie connected with that idea. Maybe it's kind of cool that
Well,
she
oh
doesn't
yeah, back
understand
to the
everything.
actual conversation. The thing with the question was the relationship between her and Frenchie, and I did like that. I like the progression of it. I like that it finally got there, and that was well done. Yes.
I definitely got the vibe, like the idea that, when a major character is going to die, they give them these kind of really introspective moments. So I thought there was some of that there. So I became increasingly worried throughout the episode that this is how it was going to go down. Jamie G, did you get that sense when Frenchie was kind of pouring his heart out to Sage that, oh boy, this might not end well for our guy?
Well, that and when we had that one scene where it looked like it might have been Kamiko that was dying, right?
Oh yeah,
And
with the dog and everything like that. When he's like,
yeah,
"Oh yeah, finally, like again, another Alanis alert." Of course, we'll
yeah.
get a dog. I'll have kids. I'm all on the team now. So of course, what's going to happen?
Yeah, that's when I started to realize, oh no, dude, I got that sinking feeling in my stomach, and even with that, I still said, there's no way. Out of anybody here, he deserves to get out of this, and yeah, it was a pretty. We'll get to it, but yeah, I got things to say about Frenchie.
Yeah, we will save that to the end. Let's move on to number 4 of the 7. Talk about the Butcher and Huey storyline. We get Synapse here, a psychic who is either impersonating or playing Joe Kessler at some point here. So Jeffrey Dean Morgan back in the season for the first time. We get Butcher's line from the trailer here. That's kind of going to set everything up. We're going to go all the way. We thought maybe that was going to come a little bit earlier. We get it here. There's some fun moments here. We'll get into the fashion of it all at Synapse rocking the two-seater shirt. But one of my biggest predictions was somehow that the steakhouse that Butcher told Huey about, that he and Lenny were going to go to, the topless steakhouse, and I forget if it was Vegas or Reno, but I thought that was going to be a thing. It comes back here. The name of it is the Juicy Rack. Soup, if there was a topless steakhouse, could you do better than Juicy Rack, or is that like no notes? That's the best possible name.
I don't know, dude. I don't know if I can do better than Juicy Rack,
Pretty
man.
good, dude.
That's really fucking good,
I
man.
tried.
Pretty
I,
good.
I, I can't do better.
I don't know if
will
I can
admit.
top it, man. I don't know if I can
If you
top
give me a
Juicy
month,
Rack,
maybe
dude.
I could do one that's equal to the Juicy Rack.
I mean, if you talk about a porterhouse plateau or something, like, it's still not even,
that doesn't the
still not
Juicy
even
Rack,
there.
dude.
Still
Think about it
not
on a
better.
billboard, like south of the border or something. The
Juicy
Juicy
Rack is just
Rack.
too fucking
You
good,
put
dude.
Frank Reynolds up there with the steak and the boobs. I mean, this billboard writes itself, right, Jamie G? Any notes here, or is the Juicy Rack perfect?
I think it's pretty much perfect, dude. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'll think about this maybe 5 months from now. I'm in the shower and something hits me. We'll report back to you guys. But I just
Shower.
hard to overcome Juicy Rack, dude. Hard to overcome Juicy Rack. That's
Well, if a Juicy
You
Rack
got to
is
go where you do your
shower,
best thinking at. Everyone does their best thinking somewhere else. Some it's pooping, shower, peeing. On the
all of
golf
them
course,
should have
maybe.
whiteboards though, so we could write down all
Yeah,
those
it
brilliant
really does seem
ideas.
like a lot of good thinking happens in the bathroom, one way or the other. So you are right.
Yes.
I mean, maybe our devices are recording us in there now. What do we know? For the most part here, the big part of this episode, or this portion of the episode here between Butcher and Huey, was related through the Billy Joel stuff. I thought that was really fun. You had a kind of a funny bit where Huey used song titles to respond from Butcher. I like the bit where Butcher got it all started by having Huey think of his favorite Billy Joel songs to kind of distract the psychics. Although that didn't work, for the record. Thinking doesn't distract psychics. Smoking weed does. So on that one, MM and Annie won, but we're not onto that one yet. And then Synapse comes in, and he basically impersonates Kessler. We have not seen him all year, and it seems like this version of Kessler isn't, a Butcher's cancer beat up tumor personified. This is actually the real Joe Kessler. So we get the idea of what actually happened to him in the way he describes Butcher here. Again, no straight spoilers for the comics, but this is very, very on brand for Butcher in the comics. Soup, did you enjoy getting Kessler here, Jeffrey D. Morgan back once again? And if this is all we get from him, was the character worth it? You know, it was a pretty big journey. We've only gotten him this one time this season. Did you enjoy it? Do you think he's been worth it?
Yeah, dude, I absolutely did. You know, when this could be one of those really like close to a double damn, if not a full on double damn moments when he popped up there, dude, kind of something that's been on the back burner. Hey man, are we gonna see him again, or whatever, and anything with Negan there, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, man, that guy's good. He's got presence, man, so it's gonna be a good scene, and it lived up to it. So yeah, I was happy to see him again, man.
Yeah, and there's really even like nice setup in there. They talk about distracting, and then at the end, Huey gets the nice distraction point here to get the ultimate kill. Jamie G, if this is all we get from Kessler, was this satisfying? And did you kind of like getting the deeper insight we got from him into Butcher's character? Huey's not the first one to be Butcher's canary. Do you think this is going to be kind of important going forward?
I think it is, and I really like this. I think it also because it was kind of cool. It's not like he had the superpower to like turn himself into Kessler. I think he was what Huey and Butcher had in their mind about Kessler, right? And I think that was cool how they did this, dude. I really liked it. And I think it is going to be big for them to be able to, because really throughout this whole thing, the one person who's never fully given up on Butcher has been Huey. And so it's kind of cool to see them work together like this.
That is something that is also kind of true in the comics. So I like where they're going with this one. And I think you're right. I think what Synapse could do, he even calls Butcher out on it. Like you're remembering Kessler is kind of this like, you know, manifestation from your beat up tumor, but like the actual dude is the guy that we see. So I think
Yeah.
that's probably the first time we've actually seen the real Joe Kessler, right? More or less.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, every other time he was just the Tyler Durden to Butcher's narrator or whatever you want to call it. So overall, I think I'm with you there. I think it was probably worth it. Let's move on to number 3 of the 7. Move on to the Annie and Huey plot here. This is where we get some of the Gen V characters. We also bring back Dognot and Sheline. But I think we have to start with Gen V. I think we all enjoyed Gen V. I think we all thought that the characters were going to be a major part of season 5 of The Boys based on the way that season 2 of Gen V ended. But here we have Marie kind of be like, yeah, I'm not really like as awesome as like everybody thought here. Soup, are you okay with the way they portrayed the Gen V characters here? Again, we only get Marie and Jordan, not for a long time. It basically makes it seem like they've just been like doing surveillance. That's it. Marie can't control her powers. She's not as powerful as we thought. Are you okay with this, or were you hoping for more?
I was absolutely 100% hoping for more, man. I hated that it took till the seventh fucking episode to even introduce these characters to it. I was hoping they would have a way bigger role throughout the entire season, and now it seems like they're just fucking downplayed and like what the fuck? I'm disappointed huge in the Marie Moreau and
Just the
fucking
portrayal
all
of them
the Gen
overall,
V.
right? Yeah.
Most of the I mean, shit, dude. Like the who do we see? Fucking Translucent's kid over there, the
Maverick, yeah.
Maverick had more fucking screen time, dude. Like what the fuck's going on here, man?
Jamie G, how do you feel about the portrayal of the Gen V characters for the first time here?
It was nice to finally see him. I hate that it took to the penultimate. I think there was a fine balance here where you didn't want to make this season all about Gen V. You wanted it to stand on its own, but you had to incorporate it because you blended the world. I think they erred on the side of caution and actually just transferred it, and there's been more kind of Vought Rising stuff, which is probably a bigger issue for me. But end of the day, it was nice to see them and kind of we got mention of Emma, which was cool. No mention of Sam or so we saw the two and then we got the mention of the one. So but it kind of was like, man, they're just gonna kind of like push them off. It looked like at the end Annie came around. And we're gonna see more of them to come here, but I don't know, man. It would have been nice to see him in action once or twice before, if it really is going to be this big battle with Marie and Homelander at the end there, or Marie's going to play a big role. But nice to get a little action with her before. I have no idea. I think it probably wasn't enough. Is how I would answer that.
Oh yeah, if you went back to before the season and told us you're not going to get any of the Gen V characters until episode 7 and this is what you're going to get, we would be wildly disappointed. So in this regard, I'm not really going to change where I'm at too much, and I think there is probably some behind the scenes stuff, perhaps with it being that there's not going to be a third season of Gen V, but there's going to be a first season of Vought Rising. Like when I was watching this on the X-ray, the actress who plays Kate Dunlap, Maddie Phillips, was credited. So, and it makes sense, right? Like she could be undercover with all those psychics with the O Father. So I think there is probably a world where, especially because these episodes were written and shot so long ago, that there was some editing room fuckery going on here, for lack of a better term. So I'm very curious as to see what they do in the final episode, if they opt to really try to give these Gen V characters a proper ending, or if they're going to just kind of keep doing what they seem to be doing and kind of pushing the Vought Rising on us. As far as the virus itself, I'm pretty sure, like anyways, what I took away is that MM had those like little syringes or darts or whatever kind of loaded up, and that's how he killed Sheline. And again, another nitpick: MM this season has now beaten like two soups straight up. He has gotten shot in the back and survived. So I do have some problems with that overall. And I mean, if he's shooting the virus into people, isn't that like the same virus that like they had to keep contained last time because it would just spread? Like, can you just do that now? Again, just kind of some of the the smaller problems here. In Soup, how did you feel kind of about the whole thing here with MM and Annie? Was it a little bit too much? Did it make sense the way it went down? They get their big fight scene against She-Line in Dognut, but I don't know, again, was this the plot line worth it? Did it move the plot enough forward here?
No, not really. Not with the given time left. I mean, that's where I worry about shit like this. Yeah, it's cool, it's awesome, it's in there. Is it that super important in the end? Because now you're thinking Endgame, dude. Like, is this tying up a loose end anywhere? Probably not. But it is what it is, and it was entertaining. So whatever.
Yeah, one of the complaints about that was the dude we see here, Eagle the Archer. We haven't seen since season 2, who shows up on kind of the Yellowstone thing, the fourth most popular Vought streaming series. You bring the worm back. I personally like this kind of small world building stuff. It
Mm.
makes it feel like more of a real universe. But again, I think you have a very fair point with there not being much time left. And Jamie G, how did you kind of feel about the MM and Annie stuff here?
Look, it was entertaining. It was fun. A lot of loose kind of stuff here. The whole vial thing, I had to pause, rewind, go back and like, wait a minute, what is that? What did he just stick in her back? Where did that come from? I wish they would have showed it. Would have taken 5 seconds to show him like loading that up before they snuck in there. Anything just to give us an idea. Um, and if it's the same stuff, it's like, dude, that was a whole thing where if that gets any type of exposure, like every humans could die. I don't know, man. It was a little fast and loose there. And there's just been so many inconsistencies about who's strong and who's not and how you kill a soup or whatever. Nice to see Annie. I think the one big takeaway that I will say is that it was nice to see Annie show regular people who were thinking she was a terrorist that she actually is the one that's saving them and that the homelanders of the world are actually the terror. I thought that was a cool kind of it's not like it's going to sway the world or anything, but I thought it was a cool little nugget there for her. And I think that's what brought back her final scene there with Marie Moreau and the Gen V folks.
Well, it kind of leads into the whole thing that MM tells her, right? And we kind of knew this was going to happen. The beginning of the season, MM is very jaded, whatever. We're all dead men walking, yada, yada, yada. Here he comes back around, most notably with a phrase we've heard before: a motherfucker with a heart. He stopped being a motherfucker with a heart and just started being a motherfucker. Here he's trying to kind of tell Annie that's what you need to be, right? Like you need to be hard when you need to be hard, but you still need to have a heart. Soup, does this work for you here? I think these are words that Annie needed to hear, but I think we kind of knew that MM was going to end up back here, right? Like, so was it worth it? Like, was it fun enough to, I guess, justify the turn we knew was coming?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely, dude. My only problem with any of this is the amount of is again the crunch time. We're here in the final minutes of the fourth quarter, man, or whatever the fuck, whatever, however you want to look at it. But 30 seconds left in the third period or whatever, man. Anyway, like I'm not gonna go on and on about relating it to sports games or whatever, but we're approaching the finish line here. So, spending an amount of time on something like that, yeah, it's awesome. It makes sense. It's fucking great, and I love the character building, and the relationship and the dialogue between the two. That kind of stuff is awesome. But when you're on crunch time, I think that's kind of ruining some of these moments for me. Is like this would be way better, and I wouldn't have this attitude towards it if I knew that the show wasn't ending in like an episode.
Yeah.
Or if this took place in episode 4 or something, I guess.
Right.
Jamie G, did it bother you that, we went through this arc where we kind of knew he was going to kind of come back around like this? It was well executed in the end, but was it worth it?
Yeah, it just feels like they needed to give him something to do, and they kind of just settled on this year. I don't know, man. He's kind of always had one of these like arcs though, like every season where he's like, I'm done with this shit. I'm going back to, and then it's like he can't, so it's kind of like it's just kind of what they've done with him every season. So I'm not necessarily surprised. I don't think it moves the needle one way or the other. I think it's just kind of par for the course. I will say, to Soup's point though, there is an anxiety and a certain amount of pressure here where it's hard to really enjoy and follow some of the brilliancy of the show because you're worried about, man, we're running out of time, right? Like I think that is a big thing, and it's not necessarily the show's fault per se. It is, but it isn't, right? It's just kind of like the reality.
Let me interject real quick here because this is kind of I never really thought about this before. What if we didn't know it was the end? What if they didn't tell us it was a series finale? And we thought, hey man, there might be another. And I know shows have done that before, but in this case, it might,
Well, at this point, I'd be like, well, there better be a season 6. I think that would be the online sentiment. As long as there's a season 6, we're okay with this.
That's the problem, is that people will expect that season, and I don't know, where do you find the answer? I think that's a thing that a lot of shows have maybe struggled with, is figuring out how to advertise or market the end of the shit. Do you surprise people with it, or do you let them know? Because if you let them know, it's fair to let somebody know, hey, the show's ending, but it also sucks because as you're looking at it like, fuck, it's ending, like we all are now, like, fuck, man, I got to cram all this in. If we didn't know that it was the end of everything, maybe we wouldn't be worried about that, and it would take that element of fucking stress and whatnot away from it. Maybe we could enjoy the show better.
You're not wrong. I mean, the series this is being compared to the most online is Stranger Things. I know you haven't seen that one, but Jamie G, does this make a little sense to you? I mean, same Stranger Things, kind of a little bit fifth final season, a little bit uneven, but you felt pretty strong at times. But then after the penultimate episode, like, the sentiment dropped quite a bit here. Does that kind of track as a correlation for you, or do you think you have faith in the boys to pull it out here?
It does. I will say there was a little bit more. I think Stranger Things, it's a different situation. I think they didn't do themselves any favors taking almost 4 years to put out that whatever it was. It was. We thought we waited a long time for the boys. We waited a long time for Stranger Things. So there was that too. I think it's probably a fair comparison, but and they spent a lot of time with like stuff in that final season of Stranger Things where it's kind of like, why are they just setting up a spinoff, right? And it just feels kind of very similar with this one. So,
well, let me flip that back on you. Like a big criticism here for a lot of people online was we spent too much time with Dognot and Sheline. I will say Dognot they've been building up to for a long time, but it does seem like the introduction of Sheline, like somebody decided, oh, we should have a dog and a cat thing like a while ago, so they made this happen. But still, this feels true to the comics. There's always kind of weird shit like that. Soup, did this work for you here? It's a penultimate episode. Did you enjoy spending this little bit of time with two Soups sniffing each other's butts and saying what the other ate for lunch, or could we have spent our time elsewhere?
I absolutely think we could have spent our time elsewhere on that one, man. This is the introduction of Dognot, and it turned out being like the first thing was that picture, and it just like still shot, and I was like, holy fuck! I thought somebody took a picture of me and put it there. We had
you need a longer beard. Like if your beard is too trim.
But the thing is, as we progressed, and as I see this guy on screen more, I'm like, okay, so he's definitely not like they didn't steal my identity. He's not. Doesn't look that
not
much.
the Soup identity, dude, or the Soup supremacy or any of those.
But at first, I was like, "Holy fuck, man!" Pretty close.
You better check your Soup social and make sure you didn't take your Soup social, dude.
I know, dude. Yeah, I gotta look into it, man. But either way, yeah. So I mean, I like the progression of the character. He's fun now. He comes in, it's like, oh, something's gonna, it's gonna be some weird dog, not shit going on. But and the whole dog cat thing with the, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's nasty, but whatever. I mean, do we need to waste time on that this episode? Probably fucking not.
Jamie G, how'd you feel?
I will just say that this reminded me of like the episodes where they, they walk in on the dude who's like cloned himself and everybody's eating everybody's that like he's,
Oh, the
that whole like
daisy chain with
the daisy
yeah, the
chain of like
duplicator dude, yeah.
himself. Like, I think that it was a classic boys moment in terms of something weird, off the cuff, funny. I'm not mad that they spent a little bit to do that. It was, they brought the rat back from, that MMC's up there. They brought that back. So I guess I'm okay with it, because that's one of the things over not just this last season, not just this episode, but over the course of the series, those type of weird, oh my God, what the heck moments, I think are what made this show. So I don't want to totally discount that here.
No, dude, the
Yeah,
little
that's what
side
we're here
things
for.
like are fucking awesome about this show, man. Like the abstract characters and the weird powers, that are just like so off the cuff or off the, just not normal shit. Side projects have been, or side whatever the fuck, man. You know what I'm saying, man? But
Right, all the
it's been
ancillary
like,
stuff is a big part of the reason we're here. And that is true from the comics. I mean, this is what the
okay.
boys do. Like a lot of the soups, there's more just in the comics in general, there's more soups, more soup teams, more weird shit. And it's a Garth Ennis story. So yeah, it does get kind of this weird. So I get that the show at some points is like trying to top itself with, how can we do a weird kill or whatever. But I mean, that's not even horror movies this day, right? There's a lot of content out there. So I don't hold it against them that they're trying to rise to the top. It just necessarily wasn't exactly the maybe optimal way to spend your time in the penultimate episode of a series that you spent, a couple of years building up to. Oh, and shout out which one of y'all mentioned. I don't remember which one, but yeah, the moment of tossing the rat at she line and her just eating it and then dog not being like, keep your head in the game. I thought that was fantastic.
It was nice to see it. And again, the MM, because people forget the crazy, OCD clean freak stuff, right? And I love to see him at the end there break out the little
They got
hand
the wet wipes
sanitizer
out.
wipe and clean up afterwards. Like, yeah, that was
Yeah, I'm
smooth.
old enough to remember him giving that speech to Annie, like, yeah, you need to use those wet wipes on everything. You do not dry wipe. It is time to move on to number 2 of the 7. Talk about the Oh Father and the whole idea here of selling Homelander as a god. Shout out to Daveed Diggs. We saw him get his big break on the theatrical production of Hamilton. So not really a surprise that he does a big song and dancing, but Jamie G, when he comes out here, the whole dance number, you start listening to the lyrics, you start watching the choreography. There is some twerking and some whatnot going on here. Like, how heavy of Righteous Gemstones vibes did you get from this kind of opening musical number from the O Father here?
I mean, big time, dude. I don't know. It's not Jesse Gemstone. This is more of like a Uncle Baby Billy influence production, but yeah, this gave me heavy. I love that they decided to utilize that with this character when they cast him. I mean, obviously coming from that background, it makes a ton of sense, and I thought he absolutely nailed this. The amount of irony and satire and ridiculousness in this, if you actually listen to the lyrics, it was so crazy. But it had a little bit of a bop to it. I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of cool. But yeah, the lyrics were just absolutely outrageous.
Soup, did you, you're a soundtrack guy. Did you enjoy this opening musical number?
I thought it was cool, man, and yeah, it did have that. It did have that
A little
gemstone
earwormy.
to it, man. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was good. For a minute there, I was worried that it would go on a little bit too long, but it was right there where it didn't. So that worked.
I love that he did the very Uncle Baby Billy thing. Like, it seemed like they had a good rehearsal, and then he just singles out like one person for doing one thing slightly wrong. So we're doing it all again from the top. That's kind of getting into like Whiplash territory or whatever. But I thought that was generally pretty fun. I think the concept of Homelander using psychics to weed out the non-believers is pretty interesting. We had the whole bit in the previous episode where we saw all the pictures of the psychics on the wall. We are kind of curious as to what they would do. This makes sense, right? Like, Homelander legitimately only wants true believers. throughout history, I guess this would be really scary if somebody could actually only surround themselves with true believers, because then they'll literally say yes to anything. I mean, maybe that's the way we're going. I'm not sure if it's really tracking with everybody else. They show this film to 30 people, only six approve. Jamie G, what did you think about this film between Homelander and Jesus? And did they make a mistake by not casting the dude who played Mitch in Barry to be Jesus? Because I think if it had been Mitch from Mitch's Beignets, I just feel like he would have been the perfect Jesus for this. The dude who played Jesus still good. What'd you think about this?
Yeah, big fan of the dude who played Mitch here. Mitch would have been awesome as this. I liked it. It's so again, absolutely outrageous. Homelander, kind of making everything about me. The irony is just off the charts here. I was fine with it. It's just we're seeing him ascend into full blown tyranny and I am God kind of mode. So this was just another example of it. But yeah, it just this the sheer ridiculousness of it all, and the again the irony about like people who are Christians here, But the crazy thing is, again, I could go on for this with a while, but I guess I would just point out again the irony of it just absolutely blows my mind.
Soup, what did you think about especially the way they portrayed Homelander in the his little movie there? I mean, they even kind of left in like the VFX notes and everything like that. I thought it was a very interesting way to do it. Did it take you out of it, or did you kind of like, especially seeing Annie and MM watch it, did it really give you the idea like, oh yeah, this is like they're really going for it?
Yeah, of course it did, dude. And that was what it was for. And I thought that I actually this is one of the better. This is one of the top moments of the episode there, man. On a couple of levels. I'm not saying right there, but like one of the better shit. Like this was a good fucking moment in the episode, man. I thought this was very fucking well done, in the moment, dude. And
Well, MM kind of shitting on the world building was one of my favorite parts, where he's like, is he like God, like Jesus' brother? Like, what's going on here? Like, the world building was absolutely for shit in that. Let's move on to number one of the seven, the big finish here. Obviously, this is going to be the death of Frenchie. Shout out Sage, and she apparently helps Frenchie get the process correct. I don't really love the idea that like they make it like, oh, if you can't go back here, this is the last time Kamiko could do this. That's very convenient for the plot. There's a lot of plot convenience in this. Again, Homelander not being able to see through zinc. I am not sure if there is that much zinc in old schools, but it helps when Frenchie needs to find a place to hide Kamiko and Sage. I thought this was a very proper death. I would have maybe liked if Homelander did it a little bit more brutal. You know what I mean? Homelander really doesn't seem like the type who just like wounds you from some behind the scenes stuff. It does look like he might have just like stuck a finger in Frenchie and just like wheeled it around or something. And that's kind of like, as you see him come out and there's that blood. But our guy Frenchie dies. For me, the big moment is when he taps his fingers, knowing that it's going to attract Homelander, saves the girls. Jamie G, how did you feel here? Like we finally lose one of the members of the boys. Was it earned?
Well, let's just start with the fact that he went out like an absolute boss, dude. I mean, and he may have saved the world doing it, but I mean, basically flipping him the bird, telling him to gargle his balls, and then the ultimate one, man, where the line he had, how he never danced a day in his life, like all that was so good. But as soon as he flipped on the radiation, I knew it was over. He is as a human you can't get exposed like that. Like that's when I was like, oh no, dude, this is really gonna happen. And they did a good job. I mean, Homelander, it's kind of cool seeing that power where you can like kind of like see through things and stuff. And he kept kind of focusing on that little spot where the girls were hiding. Yeah, I mean, and it was cool. You're right. It didn't take much, dude. It was just the tiniest little quiet tap, and boom, he's right there instantly. I wish that was all the good stuff. And the death scene within Kamiko's arms was awesome too. I mean, I don't want to see Frenchie die. I'm disappointed he did. He was like the one dude I wanted to see live. All that was great. I wish they would have showed something on camera because just seeing him kind of like drag, the blood path and he's dragging himself back. We don't really know what happened there. Felt a little cheap. But outside of that, yeah. Love you, Frenchie. I mean,
I
I don't know
mean,
what else to
well
say.
acted. I think earned. He does the heroic thing here. If you want to nitpick again, I don't think he actually ever closes the door to the little chamber they have before exposing the uranium. So, like, if you start thinking about that, it's too much. But yes, I would have liked to have seen how Homelander actually killed him. I mean, even if it was just from the radiation, and if he just says like, "I don't even need to do anything," like you're gonna die in 3 minutes anyways, whatever. But he needed that final scene with Kimiko. It was very heavy, as Marty McFly would say. So I think I'm there for it. Soup, how did you feel about how our guy Frenchie went out?
It's heavy, man. It was heavy. Part of me wants to think that maybe he's not all the way dead. Might be just mostly dead, like the Dread Pirate Roberts and the Princess Bride. I don't know. It could be. Get to Miracle Max. Where's Miracle Max? Miracle Max, come in there. Maybe fix Frenchie up. I don't know.
I wish, man. I would love that.
Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Not quite dead yet. You don't have to. You bring out your dead, but we're not quite dead yet. And Jamie G, did it bother you at all that Homelander really didn't, ultimately like rip Frenchie in half, smash his head? I mean, Homelander's whole thing is like ripping people in half. Did it bother you at all, or you're just like, yeah, we need him to have the final scene with Kimiko, so I don't care.
Well, he needed the final scene, but I wish it would have been something else. Like Frenchie won that little verbal battle back and forth with Homelander and everything. I don't know how we got to, all right, well, let's just leave a blood smear and he's dragging himself and there's some sort of wound. It would have been nice to at least see it. Maybe he takes a swing at Homelander. Homelander punches him and it's a fatal punch. He goes through his skin and just leaves him there to bleed out, because maybe there's a twinge of, I believe that they recreated this nuclear bomb type thing, that same power Soldier Boy has. Like it was set up to be able to deliver that. Felt just a smidge cheap not seeing it. I didn't want to see the final death, but what caused the death, I think, would have been important there.
Would it have been good writing if Homelander literally just chopped him in half, and then Kimiko winds up having like a kiss with his dead top half, kind of like again Frenchie kissing her top half in the pilot of the season, or the premiere of the season, I should say. I mean, I
Would have
don't know
been
if that would have
interesting.
been
Yeah.
better or not, but maybe that would have been more believable.
Wow, yeah, dude, that's a good point, man. That would have been one of the full circle things that they like to do. I mean, I like that.
It would have, but I like the words he said to her. You needed to feel they had a love like no other, man. Like you needed to hear those final words, man. And so that's a non-negotiable for me. I just wish we would have saw whatever it was that Homelander did, that caused him to drag himself out there with the blood smear.
Dude, I am
I
with
can
you on the
actually
non-negotiables.
co-sign that. Like, in the comics, like they're the same last words. The context is different, but the same thing. Like from the first, like those are Frenchie's final words in the comics. So I like the way they deployed them here. Don't know, I don't know if I love the whole process to getting there, but if he had to go, he went out properly.
Wow, man. Well, on that note, we're inviting you to make like Quad City DJs and ride this train because we're kicking off the award tour. The body count, it continues to rise. So our first stop, we're honoring The Departed.
His soul and the souls of all the faithful departed.
What was his name? The Departed.
Let's go chronologically here, starting with President Calhoun. He gets his head popped by Homelander. I guess that doesn't really mean very much. I mean, maybe you would like a president to have a more notable death, but I guess it was about par for the course. Then we have She-Line, definitely dies. Hits her with, it looks like 3 syringes, 3 darts, 3 vials, whatever it is, of the virus. Dognut, Soup, he is your doppelganger here. Is this a Twin Peaks season 3 thing here? Do you think Dognut is actually dead? Or could he come around, or could he still be living out there even if he's not shown in the finale?
I mean, maybe it's kind of undisclosed. I mean, I don't think we're going to see him again in the finale, man. I don't know, or it might be like all the soups, fucking every fucking soup we've ever seen over the course of the season.
Yeah, if it's a full-on roll call, there's a chance.
On roll call, dude, everybody shows up in the finale. For whatever reason, it would dream sequence, anything. Everybody shows up in the finale. I would like that actually, man. That's a pretty big library, but I think it'd be cool if done right. Either way, so the possibility there, man.
I am there for it. We also have the death of Synapse. That happens when he is in the form of Kessler. Jamie G, do you think this is it? Will we see Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Kessler again, or was this the final appearance?
I think it's going to be the final appearance here. I don't know how else they would bring it back. I know we thought it was going to be the angel and the devil thing with Becca and that, but I don't know that they're going to do that. I think maybe we still see Becca here, but I think that was it for him, man. It was a good way to go out. He had a good scene.
Soup, what do you think? We getting Kessler again?
Would I be against seeing him again? No, absolutely not. I think if he was back there again, it would probably be a good moment and reason and entertaining enough to be like justifying him being back again, man. So, but do we need it? No.
Yeah, my prediction would be if we get him, it would be at the very, very end as Butcher dies with like literally the angel and the devil, like him and Becca, like
If anything,
Butcher
that
looks
yeah.
both ways and then buys it or whatever for one way or the other. And then obviously we have Frenchie. We've talked about this quite a bit. Jamie G, are you cool with Frenchie being the first member of the boys to go out? Does it make sense? How you feeling here? Final thoughts on Frenchie as one of the departed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I'm cool with it. I don't think I would be cool with it whether he's the first or the last. I didn't want to see Frenchie die, so I guess it makes sense. It's tough though because I don't know, man. Honestly, he does more than Huey. Like he's more important, right? I mean, he's basically got the virus. He basically created this whole this whole power thing. I mean, I don't know, man. It sucks, but there's nothing we can do about it. I mean, they had to kill somebody, right? I mean, it's kind of cool we made it all this way without one of the main characters dying.
You could make the argument that Frenchie has been the most important character of the boys because of that. He can do whatever is needed. Soup, any other final thoughts here on Frenchie as a member of the Departed? Was it a proper death? Are you okay with it? Would you rather someone else from the boys gone first?
No, 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 man. I don't know, man. It's hard to be like, oh, hey, which one is expendable? I mean, that's not
Right.
like so it's but at the end of the day, man, it's like, all right, we're going there. So what do you put? Like, man, like it's like playing cars, man. Like, fucking wait, which one am I getting rid of here, man? We gotta throw one out there. So no, I don't love that Frenchie was the first, but I wouldn't have loved if Huey was the first or
Right. I wouldn't have
Bill
loved anybody.
first. I wouldn't have,
Right.
it would have been the same either way. So yeah, it sucks, but it is what it is, man. And it made the impact.
I think it was probably the most impactful. Yeah, it would have been sad to see MM die, but they haven't built him up like that this season to where it would have been that meaningful,
Well,
that like,
because there's
oh
Kamiko
wow.
involved too, another main
Right.
plot point. So.
Right. And maybe it gives a little credence. I guess I'll go back to the fact that maybe it makes a little sense because maybe it gives a little credence to now Kamiko's willing to go all out with this thing. And maybe that is actually what pushes it over the edge. And she does the thing, killing herself to kill Homelander to make it right in Frenchie's honor, right? Like I could maybe it does. She's the one that's gonna have to do it, right? So like her losing the one thing that she was living for, maybe that somehow pushes it over. So I guess maybe it makes sense in that regard, but still sucks. This show, it always does a good job with the needle drops, even if there aren't a lot of them. And sure, you could ask Shazam what the songs are, but why ask Shazam when you can just check out Soup on soundtracks?
That's if you're able to salvage the tape deck and the credence. But if you're the dude and your car gets stolen, man, and, I mean, can only hope for the best. So
Would the best be a Billy Joel mixtape though? Like, would
Billy
the
Joel,
best of Billy Joel Volume 1 and 2 be the best? Like, I am surprised how many tracks by Billy Joel I liked. Obviously, we get Goodnight Saigon here. Soup, I know you're a dude. You love a lot of different genres of music. Where are you at on Billy Joel, dude?
I mean, I like Billy Joel, okay, dude. I always have, man. A lot of respect for Billy Joel, man. A lot of good ones, man. Arguably, his best song has always been "Goodnight Saigon." I think it fits well for this show. I've been waiting for it, man. I've talked about it before on the show, like, dude, Good Night Saigon. They didn't give me the Good Night Saigon moment that I wanted, but it was there. It was the mellow part of the song. We want like the end scene maybe to be like the whole "we will all go down together," boom, fucking Billy Joel, fucking Good Night Saigon climax, dude. That's what would be cool. But getting the little fucking teaser of it with the whole like, little beginning mellow part of the fucking Good Night Saigon, that was nice. Huey moment, and then it spawned Billy Joel conversations that were, the story around with Butcher and him, like, so it was a Billy Joel throwback or a Billy Joel whatever. Every season.
Well, it makes, I mean, given, what we know about Huey and Billy Joel, I think that, it kind of makes a lot of sense ultimately.
But I've been
And you
wanting
don't,
Good Night Saigon, man, and the only thing better than having Good Night Saigon will be having Prince's Seven, So we'll see
yeah,
what
one day all seven will die. But I have to say, like, when I heard Goodnight Saigon, like, that is a very specific Billy Joel song. I really thought the episode was maybe going to get a little bit darker. And Jamie G, where do you stand on the Billy Joel? Do you have any favorite tracks? What did you think when the Goodnight Saigon dropped?
Yeah, I liked it when it dropped. Yeah, look, dude, he's got a bunch of great tunes, man. I think the piano is still on display when you walk into Madison Square Garden. He is the piano man. A great karaoke selection if you're into that kind of thing. So, to me, I probably still go. It's still rock and roll to me. Is probably still my top one. Moving Out is awesome. Is also really awesome. So he's got a lot of hits, dude. Like, and if I had a chance to like go to a Billy Joel show, I probably would. Like why not, dude? Like that's a respect, dude. He's got a bunch of hits, man. So
And he very famously plays the hits. Like he has done a lot of like experimental jazz. Like he has not done a lot of pop music since the River of Dreams joint, basically like the early '90s. For the most part, when he does concert tours, he just he'll play Piano Man and all that stuff. Huey's favorite tracks are "Scenes from an Italian Restaurant," "The Entertainer," "Allentown," "Tell Her About It," "You May Be Right." I am a pretty big fan of all those. My top five, I don't really have a top five, but I'd say Downeaster, Alexa, Pressure, Goodnight Saigon, Captain Jack, and also Scenes from an Italian Restaurant. Soup, I know yeah, you've used the Pressure in an intro back in the Joe Blow days here. Anything else kind of stand out to you from Billy Joel as far as something that's just very something you come back around to?
yeah, I mean, dude, there's a lot of good Billy Joel ones, man. I mean, Uptown Girl, man. I mean, that wouldn't be
She's
one of
been living in the right
Allentown.
way world.
Allentown would definitely be one of my favorites, dude. Like anything off the Nylon Curtain was badass, dude. Like Nylon Curtain was a great album,
That
man.
is a great album title.
Well, it is an album title.
I know that's what I mean. That's why it's a great that's like no notes.
But and then it's earlier, even before that, man. And I really love the in the middle of the night. That's
Oh,
right.
that is the River of Dreams
The
joint, yeah,
River of
from like
Dreams, the
'92.
River of
Yeah.
Dreams, yeah. I mean, and Billy Joel, he's good across the board, dude. Like, I mean,
Oh, yeah, he tried a
fucking
bunch
Billy
of different
Joel.
stuff too. Like he did some more R&B stuff, like some jazz stuff. Like he's really like Jamie G. Full respect for Billy Joel,
Full
right? Like
respect, dude, Billy
oh
Joel.
yeah, dude. Full respect here, man. I mean, obviously everybody knows the hits, man. Like I mentioned earlier, a big fan of Moving Out. It's still rock and roll to me. Those are probably two of my favorites there. But
Captain Jack will get you high
she's
tonight.
always a woman to me. I like that.
yeah, I mean, Just the Way You Are is a really good one. I mean, again, there's a lot here. Was he New York State of Mind too? Was that?
Yep. That's
Yeah,
Billy Joel, dude.
a lot of great ones here
He's
with
from the
Billy Joel.
Italian restaurant, man.
Yeah. I like way more Billy Joel than I thought I did.
Me
Just basically, when
too.
I like looking around through this, I'm like, I really like. There's no real like. He's very listenable, right? Like it's hard to hate Billy Joel.
Yeah, how do you hate Billy Joel, dude? Like, who
Like
would
he
hate
had
Billy
very good
Joel?
sets, like he is the piano band. Like he did a lot of different jobs. Like very good musical artist. I think underrated maybe a little bit. That's all I'm saying.
Could
Not
not
underrated. He's pretty
agree
well known,
more.
man.
Yeah, well, for a dude that well known, underrated.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Next up on the award tour, we got a few alternate episode titles. Mills, is there something from the comics that the Frenchman, the female, and the man called Mother's Milk is referencing here? And what alternate titles do you have for us for this one?
This is the exact title of part two of the name of the game. This is when the boys was assembled into a two-part graphic novel. The first volume was released as the boys, so this is the second part of that. As far as alt, I'm gonna go right back to the O Father and go with Bigger Than Jesus. Homelander thinks he is. Could something else be bigger? We're not sure yet, but until then, Homelander thinks that's what's going on. Next up, we have Wannabe. You need a little bit of a Spice Girls callback. Could have been cool if they used it in the intro or the outro. They didn't. We might. Stay tuned to the end to find out. Next up, we have Divine Madness. I think this is an excellent balance between what's going on here and the ultimate madness we're hoping to see in the finale of the series. At number 4, next up, we have the Dusk of the Seven. The Dawn of the Seven has been featured prominently throughout the series, so why not the Dusk of the Seven? And then finally, we need to work something here with the way that Frenchie tells Homelander, you look like a man who has never danced before. Let's go with Last Dance. It's not quite the last dance, but we are pretty close. So those are the 5 options for this episode. We have Bigger Than Jesus, Wannabe, Divine Madness, Dusk of the Seven, Last Dance, Soup. Any of those stick out to you, or do you have a better one for us?
You know what? I don't. Other than fucking no, I don't.
Any of those stick out to you?
Last Dance, dude.
Last Dance. Jamie G, how about yourself?
I mean, it's obvious. Last Dance.
I got to go with Divine Madness. Big fan of that. I thought that was a good one. And Dusk of the Seven, just because like shout out to Dusk Till Dawn. Like, yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll see if George Clooney shows up in the end. And I mean, maybe he can. He's a very fashionable dude. But here on Compound B, we're only concerned with fashion by Frenchie. Jamie G usually start us off with the t-shirt twins here. We got our guys MM and Huey. They've got the cool t-shirts, rocking some certain bands here. Tell us about the fashion in this penultimate episode.
We always start off Fashion by Frenchie talking about the t-shirt twins, MM and Huey. And on this episode, MM's got a banger here. He's declaring that nobody beats the Biz as he's rocking a white Biz Marquee Day t-shirt. Oh man, and just yes, this is a real thing. August 31st is Biz Marquee Day, an official holiday in New York City. Go ahead, mark it on your calendars, show up to it, have a great time. Now, Huey's listening to Billy Joel, but he's doing something unusual on the t-shirt fashion front here. He's rocking a dark blue traveling Wilburys tee. Pretty cool design here. I really like the dark blue with the light blue complement here. If you don't recognize the name, the Traveling Wilburys are a super group formed in the late 80s featuring Bob Dylan, George Harrison, Jeff Lynne, Roy Orbison, and Tom Petty. What a freaking lineup, dude. Would love to check out a little bit of the Traveling Wilburys. I need to add that to my Spotify.
Jamie G, I'm assuming there's probably some sort of fish supergroup that I don't know, but outside of this, the best one I can think of is Temple of the Dog back in the early 90s. That was kind of a combination of Pearl Jam and Soundgarden. Are there any other supergroups kind of that you were into? Again, if you want to get fish related, you can, but you can spend your essence.
Honestly, Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young, I think were pretty incredible supergroup. I mean, that was 4 awesome musicians, guitarists. Like that was pretty sick. I mean, that's definitely one that jumps off top of my head here.
Yeah, I mean, when you got to use all 4 names in the title, it's pretty significant. How about yourself,
CSNR, dude.
Any other supergroups kind of who stick out to you?
Supergroups? I mean, you could talk about like Night Ranger and shit, like fucking these power fucking groups that I don't know, man.
I mean, in the context of like Traveling Wilburys, you know what I mean? Because that's like so many heavy hitters. What was the one with like?
Yeah, let me hear about Oysterhead. Talk to me about
Oysterhead. Yeah, Oysterhead's a pretty sick one, man. Yeah. Yep.
But it's hard to beat Traveling Wilburys, I think, in terms of like raw, just star power, especially in the late 80s.
Yeah, I mean, Oysterhead is more of a cult type thing with Trey and dude, it was my Les Claypool dude on the bass, like very very crazy group, dude. And if you listen to some
Les Claypool fan, so yeah, I'm there for that too.
Yeah. There's a bunch of them. I really want to explore some of the Traveling Wilburys. I'm not as familiar with that, but man, what a
Let's
bunch
get into it, man.
Yeah, they can do a long run, but again, I mean, some of the biggest names in rock music, a little bit kind of like, towards the end of their career arcs, but still, very solid. I think they put out 2 records, but very solid.
Given the events of the episode, it's only fitting that Frenchie gets to rock his goggles here, which are part of his default look in the comics. He looks freaking awesome. Let's just give him his due here. Frenchie goes big with fashion. He always has. That's why we designed this whole bit. But I appreciate pairing the goggles not only with a pink shirt, but blue rubber gloves and a red radiation vest. I want this shirt, dude. I would wear that shirt. It's very cool. And Frenchie may be gone, but his influence on fashion will never be forgotten.
How about the gloves? I want to get the gloves.
Gloves are also very, very cool.
I
Yeah,
feel like they're multi-usage, you know.
yeah, he's Frenchie's the man, dude. Butcher's continuing his trend of rocking crazy button downs where you don't know what the hell's going on him. I mean, it's just look at this thing. I mean, I don't know what is happening. At this point, I'm thinking Butcher's just dressing out of the lost and found at their hideout. I mean, they are in a school. Maybe it's just like, hey, this was
I
just
thought it was
stuff
a
that like
lighthouse, like architectural, like blueprint at some point. But as I looked at it, I think it's like maybe they're doing it AI just to mess with us or something. There's no rhyme or reason to these shirts.
I mean, they're wild. I can't say that I wouldn't necessarily wear them on like a, at like a crazy barbecue
They're like
out
the
back.
most generic shirt you could possibly get. Like it's like
Yeah.
AI, maybe like this is it. Like AI generated it, and they're gonna like come out like Amazon to be like, oh, see, all of Butcher shirts in season 5 of The Boys were AI generated.
Now that you
It'll
know that,
kill
no wardrobe. You get
after
that.
dark at TGI Friday.
No more labor on wardrobe, dude. All we do is CGI now, man. Don't have to worry about wardrobe, makeup, none of that, dude.
Yeah,
Think
just
about
go
how
out
many
naked, dude. We'll
jobs
just
will be
project
lost
all the
because of
clothing
that.
right
That's
onto you.
thousands and thousands of jobs, dude. Like people just do makeup and wardrobe. If you didn't have to do that anymore because of AI,
Yeah, it's coming, man.
dude, that
It's the
sucks.
end of the
Well,
world as we
it's
know it.
coming quickly and hard.
Dude, one day I might not even have a job because AI could just cook food, you know.
You could say that about 99% of industries, but yes, you're right.
But you can never AI can never
We're
have
all in
personality.
trouble. We're all in rubble here. It's not great.
We have got an honorary t-shirt twin this week with Synapse, who's rocking a long sleeve two-seat novelty tee. Just take a second and enjoy this thing if you're watching us on YouTube. It's pretty cool, dude. Soup, you seem like a man who likes a good novelty tee. How do you feel about the two-seater here? Where does it compare to something like the FBI female body inspector type shirt? Like what like how did is this it's up there with like the the what's the Big Johnsons and all that? Like, is this in the
Yeah,
same
yeah, yeah,
universe?
yeah, yeah. I know where you're going here. You're reaching for the Big Johnson, dude, but you know, you're grasping at I don't want to say you're grasping at you're grasping at tree trunks. You're grasping at tree trunks here, looking for the Big Johnson. But I will say this, man. Fucking yeah, love the shirt, dude. I like a dirty innuendo shirt. They've always been fun, you know, like from back in the day at Big John's. They're funny, dude. You know, I love a funny shirt like that. Always was a fan of the Big Johnson shirts, and this seems like something right there on that level, man. You know, so I'm into it, man.
I like specifically only users lose drugs. That was always a very fun
I
one to
like that
me.
kind of shit too. Yeah, man. Anything is
And
a
there
little.
was one. It was like a very specific blackjack shirt where it was like I'd hit that, and it's like a 5 and a 6 in a hand, so it's 11. Obviously, you'd really double down on that. So that should be the shirt. I'd double down on that, but I'd hit that with the blackjack shirt. Kind of funny. Jamie G, are there any of those kind of like funny, innuendo shirts you like?
Classic, dude. Right?
Yeah, pretty classic. Pretty classic. Very Kenny Powers ish. I feel.
Yeah, plug it in, dude.
Yeah, novelty T-shirts are fun for
Show me your
everybody.
shirt, dude. Whip it out, man. Yeah. I'll rock it, man. Yeah, I'll rock a fucking solid, dude. I haven't had a good fucking one of those kind of like Johnson shirts or whatever, you know, like little, whatever it is. I don't know the word for it, but that kind of shirt.
Well,
In a
really, what
while.
we
It's been a
want
long
is the
time.
co-ed naked Big Johnson
Those
novelty
were,
shirts.
yeah,
Just like cross those two things over, and we're there.
you know what? Let's meld a couple of them together. Let's throw
Have
them
no
together.
fear if you're
Yeah,
Johnson is big enough.
we'll put a Big Johnson meshed up with skids and hypercolor
Mm.
in with the overalls. And let's do it, dude. You know.
So if you got the overalls, we just work Urkel in, and we're good.
We do love every single stop on the award tour, but I don't know if it gets any better than our favorite quotes, especially with this show. Mills, it's never an easy choice. There's literally so many. I'm glad that you have to go first here because I'm still thinking about mine. Let's kick it to you for your favorite quote of this episode.
This is a very, very tough one. Soldier Boy, as always, is kind of getting it done. But you know what? Just give me MM here. It's kind of the thesis statement. I know it's circling back around, but just give me MM when he says,
I went from being a motherfucker with a heart to just being a motherfucker.
that's kind of big in terms of character development. I love MM, always looking to get, some really serious stuff that kind of reflects back to the comics. I think this does. Jamie G, how about yourself? Favorite quote from the penultimate episode?
Look, there's so many great ones that are worthy, and there's so many funny ones. I'm gonna go with more of a serious one here, man. I gotta give it up for my guy Frenchie.
Look at you. I bet you never danced a day in your life.
Such a big ball moment for Frenchie as he knows he's dead. To be able to say that, dude, like just pretty awesome stuff, man. I gotta give it up for him there.
I completely agree with your interpretation there. I think that's exactly what they were going for. Soup, what are you going for as your favorite quote from the penultimate episode of The Boys?
Again, I have to go back to Soldier Boy, man. It's hard not to, and I don't want
Yeah.
to be like just relying on it.
Quote
Episode.
machine.
It needs to come through every episode. And there were a couple others that were real close, and normally I don't go with a super long one like this. This isn't a paragraph or anything, but like it's more than I like to go. Either way, man.
No angel came to you. You had a wet dream about some chick with big juicy tits. If that makes you a god, then I'm a fucking god every night.
I am God!
Would it help if I said it's not you, it's me?
You see, and there could be that too. You followed it. They're just saying that, like I could pinpoint that might have been the climax or whatever. That might have been just the focal point or whatever for whatever it is.
No,
man.
pretty much the
But that whole
climax. I think we said
that
all the
whole fucking
climax.
conversation was fucking awesome.
It was.
So I mean, like,
The award tour, it's got to roll on here. We're about to highlight our favorite and or craziest moments from the Frenchman, the female, and the man called Mother's Milk. And we call these our double dams.
Double down.
dude, with the double dam, I got to go at the moment that the reveal of Ashley president getting fucking lasered out. Like, there's a lot of them in here, and I could have gone with the end. Like, the tough one because people say, "Oh, nothing happened in this episode." A lot did, So fuck off.
Yeah.
People, nothing did. A lot did. It could have been, but that was, whatever. I decided on that one at the end of the day. So there it is.
Jamie G, greatest love in history, at least in terms of this episode, the penultimate episode, season 5, episode 7, Out of Buys. Who you got?
People are probably going to hate me for this, and I don't care. I literally could not care less. You can hate me all you want. You can hate me now, dude. Call me Nas here.
Hate me today. Hate me
But
tomorrow.
I am going to go with when first of all, the fact that the door started to open and all of a sudden Starlight and MM were able to slip through the ceiling like before it opens. It's pretty incredible. But I'm gonna go with this with with the fact that they're up in the vents looking down and you get She-Line starting to lick her ass. And then you get Dog Knot coming in there, and they did this whole little circle smelling each other's ass, talking about what they had for lunch. It was absolutely so ridiculous and off the wall. And you're just like, what is happening right now? Yeah, it was a double damn moment for me. I'm going there with it. I know people didn't want it in this episode, and that's fine. I understand your point, but to me, it was a wild moment. It was funny, and it's my double damn.
Dude, I'm with you, man. I agree. I think that was a cool scene, man. Maybe not in like the last of the last, like almost whatever with the right
But
here.
that's
where
what The
we
Boys
are,
has
like-
always been about, right? Is that kind of
But
weird?
hey, man, yeah, and you need something like that to lighten it up, dude, and to break the fucking, it can't just be fucking. You can't just keep fucking slapping somebody in the face with your sledgehammer cock and expect that to, you gotta soften things up a little bit or pull back a little bit to have another element of surprise, like. Otherwise, you're not surprised anymore. So, like, sometimes you got to take your foot
Well,
off.
hey, I'll have you know that it's a hammerhead cock and it's called Xander. And that's
Xander,
why it's
no,
probably
Xander.
appropriate that my double damn moment Give me Xander the Shark, Samuel L. Jackson just showing up randomly, yelling at the deep when he throws the can into the ocean, like trying to get him to dive in. Loved everything about that. I'm like, is that Samuel L. Jackson? That was definitely worth a double down.
Next up on the award tour, we have our very special supporting players. These are our favorite characters from the episode who are not in the main cast. Soup, so far you've gone with Love Sausage, Rock Hard, Stan Edgar, Rick, who is Annie's dad, and Terror, Butcher's dog, because he's just a good boy, and the Legend. Who is your very special supporting player for this one?
My very special supporting player for this one, it's got to be Sam Jackson, dude. Samuel L. Jackson. The shark was awesome. I always love some aquatic activity, man. And have a voice like I've been waiting for the moments like this. We got a little bit. It wasn't like everything I wanted, but it was great to have Samuel L. involved, man. So that's where it's at.
He goes with Xander the Shark, dude.
Xander, dude. You know who else? All right, who else used Xander? I think it was the DJ. No, Dennis Miller, the DJ in fucking Joe Dirt. His name was Xander something, right? So Xander is a catchy name. Got any name with an X, probably a catchy name, dude.
Very catchy. No, anything with X's, more X's equals cool. I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna go one, you might as well go two. If you're gonna go two, you might as well go three.
And then you're talking about really good stage names. All right, with the triple Xers, let's boogie on.
All right, I was the same as Soup through the first four episodes here with Love Sausage, Rock Hard, Stan Edgar, and Rick, and then I took Seth Rogen in episode 5 because I just thought it was hilarious. I also took the Legend in episode 6. We all did, spoiler alert, because it's the Legend. For this one though, honestly, dude, Xander the Shark was my honorable mention, 100%, but I got to go Kessler. I guess it could be Synapse with being Kessler, whatever you want to say. I'm going Kessler here. I thought he was awesome. He was like a big moment kind of to move the plot forward here a little bit. I was wondering how they were going to get out of it. It was cool to see, the Huey and the Butcher of it all work together. I thought this was a big moment in the episode. He was awesome. Give me Kessler.
I think I'm basically eating what Jamie G's putting down here. Thus far, I've gone with the Worm, Rock Hard, Madeline Stillwell, Courtney Fortney, Adam Bork, and the Legend. But in this case, I think, whether you want to call him Kessler or Synapse, this is a great scene. I think it tracks really well from the comics. At the very end, when Butcher kills, Kessler, Synapse, whatever you want to call it, and he says like he enjoys it every time, really, really tracks well for me. So
next up on the award tour, it's time to hear it for the boy or girl, our episode MVPs. So far you've had A-Train, MM, Soldier Boy, Frenchie, Firecracker, and Homelander as your MVPs. Let's hear it for your boy or girl, your episode MVP for the Frenchman, the female, and the man called Mother's Milk.
I don't think we need to go any further than the first name on that list, man. I feel like it's going to be a unanimous decision here. The MVP here is probably going to be, at least for me, it's going to be Frenchie, man, and I'll have honorable mention if we all agree on Frenchie as MVP, because I think we might.
I second that emotion. Jamie G, you willing to make a unanimous Frenchie as MVP, and we'll all give our honorable mentions?
Yeah, it's Frenchie with a bullet forever. Frenchie for life, dude. That's yes.
Honorable mention then. Frenchie's the MVP. Who's the HM here?
It was a tough call. There's a couple here, but I'm gonna go with Kamiko. She went through this episode, dude. I got to give it to her overall, without just moving on.
Kimiko, I think that is very, very fair. JBG, you've gone Butcher, Frenchie, Ryan, Frenchie, Firecracker, the Legend. So this makes it a triple get match with the Frenchie, but outside of him, honorable mention MVP for the penultimate episode.
It's first time I've used him all season. I'm going to go ahead and use Homelander here as my MVP. I thought he's got everything pretty much the way he wants it now. He's eliminated what he thought was really his only threat in Soldier Boy. He neutralized it. He's got the V1. He's racing full towards I am God, I've ascended, tyranny, the whole thing. He wants to just completely change the world as we know it. and reshape it in his vision. Yeah, I think this is him at his peak here. So I'm going Homelander as my honorable mention.
He's not going streaking, he's going peaking.
Yeah, man, dude, that's fucking wild. When you think about it, at this point, what we're looking at right now is Homelander can do whatever the fuck he wants. Like he's always said, I can do whatever the fuck I want. Now he's really can do whatever the fuck
He's
he
really
wants.
doing it.
Nobody
Yeah.
can fucking stop. Nothing can fucking stop him. Nothing can stop him. He can do nothing. There's nothing that can be like. It doesn't matter. It is his world, dude. You know.
We're just living in it. Thus far for my MVPs, I've gone A-Train, Frenchie, Soldier Boy, Annie, Firecracker, and the Legend. Obviously Frenchie here, but as my honorable mention, it was between Kimiko and Mother's Milk. And give me MM here. I know he was kind of going to get back on the bus. I knew eventually they're going to roll him back off of Team Butcher, but still, I can't hate it. I love what I got from MM this episode, so he's my honorable mention here as my MVP.
It's the end of the line for the award tour, and the final stop is our episode grades. For the record, we grade every episode of The Boys on a scale of 0 to 100 Vought coins. Magnum Mills, our very own MM. How many Vought coins can you spare for the penultimate episode of the series of The Boys? What you got?
I've generally been pretty high in terms of my distribution of the Falcon so far. I've gone 94, 89, 90, 86, 91, 90. I think in a vacuum, this is an episode that would have lived in the high 80s, low 90s for me, but I have to knock it for doing what it did and being a penultimate episode. So, going to be my lowest graded episode of the season, 85 Falcon. Again, not in the toilet here. I think in a vacuum, a good episode, just not really what I was hoping for in the penultimate. Jamie G, so far you've gone 93, 93, 94, 91, 92, 92. Been living in the early 90s. Are you going to continue to do the same here for the penultimate episode, or are you switching it up?
Mills, I'm switching it up. We're no longer living in the 90s, and we're not living in the mids, earlies, or the highs, the late 90s here. We're going back to the 80s. I'm giving it 88 Vought coins. It's my lowest score of the season, but it doesn't mean that I hated it or it was all bad. 88 is still a very good score. It's just we didn't solve a lot of the problems that we have to finish this thing out. So I think they got some work to do here in this last one. But yeah, 88 Vought coins, and 88 was a very good year. Soup, you've been living in the 90s all season, just like I was. You've gone 98, 93, 91, 90, 93, and 94 Vought coins so far. How many coins can you spare for the Frenchman, the female, and the man called Mother's Milk?
I feel like if this were an episode that wasn't like the one before the last one of the season or the series, if this were like episode 3 or 4, somewhere in the middle, it might have ranked higher. I'm gonna have to drop my score a little bit, and I'm not gonna break down into the 80s. I'm gonna stick right there on the 90 with this one, man. And I feel like this episode is, yeah, I don't think it got a fair shot because it is the last before the last episode. And I think the same thing's going to happen next week with the next one. It's like too much expectations. Like going back to I wish I didn't know. Maybe I'd rank them higher if I didn't know. Sometimes you don't want to know. But knowing makes you have that much fucking different kind of judgment on these things and whatnot, when you're looking at them. So, but anyway, I'm still dropping into a 90, staying in the 90s, right there on a 90 for this one, man.
I think that's fair, and I think we're all kind of in the same world here with the same sentiment. Good episode, tough that it's a penultimate, and maybe that's just part of the expectations are too high, but they got to land this ship. I mean, I think all three grades are fair.
We really can't complain. I mean, I know everyone doesn't love it, but we're still giving this a very, very easily passing grade. But
Yeah.
if this episode was going to be a soup or a stew or something made in a pot on a stovetop, what would it be? This is where the soup comes in. He's our soup, a very, very prominent soup in the back of the house soup. If the penultimate episode of The Boys was a soup, what type of soup would it be and why?
I think this is where you need to go with a kind of like a mashup soup right here, man. So right away I'm feeling like broccoli cheese soup, but with like a beer cheese or with like ham or prosciutto or something, or pancetta even better, and then some weird fucking mushrooms or shallots or something involved with it, man. Like a kicked up fucking next level broccoli cheese, man.
Beer cheese sounds like a band that Shorzy would go see.
Kicked up beer cheese broccoli soup, dude.
I like it, and it's making me hungry a little bit. Finally, it is time for the speculation station, our predictions and theories for the series finale. Here's a secondary warning. We're in full spoiler territory here. If we don't have a teaser for the finale, but we could be discussing any recent news or announcements, and there could be a few spoilers from the comics. If you want to avoid that, thanks for checking out Compound B. We'll see you next week. For everyone else, Magnum Mills, hit us with what's next on The Boys.
I know we're all worried, but we have to give them a chance to land the plane. The final episode is titled Blood and Bone. The director is Phil Screesha. Not really a surprise here. The most prominent director of the show. Judalina Nirera and David Reed are the credited writers. Both have written episodes so far this season. We just watched the teaser. The comics reference is a line that I believe is originally spoken by Homelander in the storyline Payback, where he suggests that he and Butcher will share a fate, something a little more scorched earth, shock and awe, blood and bone, kind of flipped on his head here with Butcher being the one to give the lines. Let's just flip it around here and just start out with Gen V. Soup, we talked about Gen V quite a bit. Do you think that they're going to ultimately kind of like unnerf Marie, let her do something significant, be it bring Frenchie back to life, depower Homelander, or do you think they're going to kind of keep her lower level here?
Yeah, I want to see them do something with her, man. It's kind of been built up to it between the two shows, really, as a whole, man. It kind of seems like it's going in that direction. I want to see it come to fruition here, man. So I'm team fucking let Marie do some shit.
Jamie G, what do you think?
Me too, and it feels like they need him. They just lost Frenchie. We've got Homelander's never been more powerful. He's never been more emboldened to do all these things. Feels like they need Gen V, right? So to me, I think it would be a major miss to not incorporate that.
Jamie G, if Marie was going to do something, what do you think's more likely? She rips the V from Homelander's blood, she brings Frenchie back to life, or enhances Ryan's powers in a way that maybe he could beat Homelander? What do you think is most likely?
I think she works to rip the V1 out of Homelander's blood while Butcher and company are working on just killing him, like beating him and some whatever they're doing. It's going to take more than just one person, man. I think if you're going to kill Homelander, dude, it's probably going to take a village.
I think that's fair. Soup, what do you think? What's the most likely outcome for Marie if she gets to do something big? She ripping the V from Homelander, bringing Frenchie back, or maybe enhancing Ryan's powers?
Much as I want to see it be bring Frenchie back, that would be prolonging the story. And if this is where his story ends, I'm okay with it. I hate it, but it sucks, but it makes sense. So if I'm gonna waste a fucking opportunity with power like that, I would put it more towards, DVing Homelander or something. Yeah.
I'm with that. I think that feels like that was the original intent for Marie. So I think I want to keep the story going there. How about the rest of the Gen V cast? We have Jordan, Kate, Sam, Emma, and Annabeth. That was Marie's sister. Jamie G, out of those characters, give us one who you think dies and maybe one who makes an impact somehow on the plot line.
I'm gonna actually say Emma makes a big impact here somehow. I'm not sure how, but I'm actually gonna go with Jordan dying, and they're gonna do a similar spin, right? Like that would actually put Marie Moreau over the edge, just like it put Kimiko over the edge with Frenchie dying. I think they've got this thing going with couples here, dude. So I'm going with Jordan dying.
I'm going with they're going to do something with Annabeth and Kate. Annabeth has kind of like prediction powers, Kate has psychic powers. So I think somehow they're going to be trying to infiltrate the whole operation with Homelander, the Democratic Church, Vought, whatever you want to call it. In that Sam ultimately dies because he thinks he is, the strong one. He can challenge Homelander. So maybe that's where he goes. Soup, out of the remaining non-Marie Gen V characters, give us one who you think will die, and then maybe one who you think at least makes an impact before they go out, or even if they live.
You're right, dude. I think Sam makes an impact and dies, but I think Kate has an impact too. Yeah.
She can push people. I mean, that's a very, very solid power that we don't know if she could push Homelander, but it's certainly not impossible. At least that seems like one of those things that might be immune to the V1, where as opposed to the virus, like, all of a sudden he got the V1, so the virus doesn't matter. Jamie G, one of our favorite characters. Giancarlo Esposito as Stan Edgar. Is Stan Edgar showing up in the final episode? Short answer, yes, I'm pretty sure he is. What does he do? Does he end up in charge of Vought at the end of the series? How are you feeling about Stan Edgar's role in the finale?
Yeah, I feel like he's got to show up, dude. They didn't keep him alive for all this. He's going to show up, and honestly, I think maybe he's got one more ace up his sleeve, and yes, he will be either assuming power of Vought or the presidency or something when it's all said and done.
I'm saying he's head of Vought and he supports Ashley as president, and that's how that works out. Soup, what do you think about Stan Edgar here? Where does he end up?
I mean, I would be okay with Stan Edgar, like, sticking out to the end of it, man, and being victorious, kind of, so to speak, or whatever it is in this world, him and Ashley running shit. That might be the way it ends, man, or it might be Homelander's victorious and Stan Edgar is his puppet once again. So who knows?
Well, as long as the Buffalo Sabres are victorious, we can live with it. Right back at you, Soup. How about Ryan here? I am going to say that ultimately he's not the one who takes out Homelander, but he's the one who takes out Butcher. What do you think about Ryan? Does he take out Butcher or Homelander? Does he take out neither? Where do you think we end up with Ryan?
I think either is a really good possibility, man. Either or neither is both a really good possibility, obviously.
They're
But
all good options.
yeah, I know, man. It's wild. Like, what do I think? Well, I don't know. Shit, man. At the end of the day, I think he's more toward. I think Butcher has been more real. So I think he would, if it really came down to it, he might side on Butcher's side of it. So I don't know. That's where I'm at.
JBG, what do you think about Ryan, man? Like, who's he taking out, if anybody?
I'm gonna say he's going to be contributing to the takedown of Homelander, but it's not just him, right? I have to go back to that.
Yeah, I mean, you see them together in the teaser, so I suppose that makes sense. Do either of y'all think there's a chance we get the legend in the finale? I'm saying yes, but it's in one scene, like in the denouement, not critical to the plot. Do either of y'all side with me thinking that maybe we get one more scene with the legend at least?
Dude, I'm 100% for it. I don't think it's necessary. If it's there, great. If not, I think he kind of went out on a good note. So if that's the end of the legend, I'm okay with it. If he shows back up, better have a good way out too.
I don't think we do. I think we kind of got it. If we do, I think it's just maybe like one of the final scenes just to prep the Vought Rising type stuff because maybe he stars in that, which would be awesome actually. That would make me excited about it. But I don't think we do.
To me, I think what both of y'all said makes sense. But what if, like, just back in the day, he managed the town. What if he managed Polarity, and that's who they send to manage the Gen V characters is the legend? So he has to give them like the little pep talk and explain to them like this is how we did it back in the day or something. Would the legend and the Gen V characters not be like? Couldn't that be a great like briefing scene? I thought that could maybe be a little bit of fun. How about Stormfront? Jamie G, do you think that Stormfront is still somehow alive? Like my fear is they're gonna like keep her alive, but they do it in some way that it's to pay off Vought Rising. I mean, do you think there's a chance like we saw, minor spoilers here for stuff, but like Better Call Saul extended their narrative past the run of Breaking Bad? do you think there's a chance that like they're working the end of Soldier Boy / Stormfront here to work past the end of this show to like pay off Vault Rising?
I think that they bring her back for that purpose, but I also think it's to get Soldier Boy um out of the cryo chamber.
Soup, what do you think? Is Stormfront coming back in the finale, and are they going to focus more on Soldier Boy's ending as far as it comes from Vault Rising, or do you think he's still going to be kind of subservient to Homelander's endgame?
Well, see, here's the thing that kind of makes me wonder, man. They've been kind of building the Stormfront thing and whatever through in Soldier Boy, they shit through like the entire season, man. So to not have that in the end episode would kind of be a bit of a letdown, man. I feel like we do see her in full force. That would be cool. Coming in to fucking, do whatever it is in the end episode here. So maybe it is getting Soldier Boy out of the cryo what the fuck that he's stuck in. And I feel like that if it was any chance of him getting out of that shit, it would be her. And it seems like, the way that the season's been building, like we almost feel like we need to see the presence of Stormfront there, man, towards the end here. And I don't know. However it plays out, I think it could be a very good possibility that we see her, man.
I mean, Soup, we saw Thomas Godolkin get healed by Marie. Is there any chance that somehow, maybe even unintentionally, Marie heals Stormfront if she's still alive?
Maybe that's how it goes. That would make sense. If it did play out that way, I'd be cool with that.
What do you think, Jamie G? Is there any chance that Stormfront is still alive? And if so, maybe Marie, in some way, shape, or form, heals her.
Yeah, there is a chance, only because of how much they've pepped it up, and maybe I'll throw one out to you. She gets back, and she's the reason that Soldier Boy gets free and kills Homelander.
Oh, that's very interesting. I mean, I could definitely see if she, came back, she would release Soldier Boy. But if Homelander is Endgame, I think that would set up a really interesting conflict. But again, I don't know if there's enough time to necessarily pay all this off. In Soup, I know it's Amazon, it's Prime, it's on HBO. But one of the prominent theories online, we know Soldier Boy is Homelander's dad. Dude, what if Stormfront is Homelander's mother? Are you okay if this winds up being yet another show where incest plays a big part of the endgame?
It kind of makes sense, man, but I don't know. I mean,
Right, as far as having a mother complex, in Oedipus, yeah, it absolutely does make sense. But Jamie G, if Stormfront wound up being Homelander's mother, like, is this good writing? Is this hacky? Does it bring it back around? We've talked about his lack of a mother, the whole idea he's lashed out of the breast milk and everything. On a certain level, it makes sense. But would it be too much?
I mean, it would be crazy, but I would love to see Anthony Starr's facial expressions as he comes to realize that. It would almost be worth it just to see his face acting. Yeah, it's a wild thought, dude. It's a wild thought. I think I would be okay with it. I mean, not like in the real world or anything, but like in the universe, in the show here, I think it actually would do enough to create a crazy, holy cow moment. And maybe it would pay off the whole Stormfront thing. Maybe it would pay it off. Maybe they do that without, instead of bringing her back, we find that out. I think that would pay off just as much as bringing her back.
Final lightning round on some family and friends here. Soup, do you think we're going to see Becca Butcher again?
I think we do, man. I think we do just in a brief moment, man. Like, I hate to say on Billy Butcher's end fucking moments, or maybe it's not that way, but I do think it's a profound moment with him where he does see Becca Butcher again.
I think I agree with you. Jamie G, how about yourself? Becca Butcher, we seeing her again?
The easy money here is on the yes. I gotta say yes.
How about Terror, Jamie G? Right back at you. He's a very good dog, and we're going to see Terror again.
God, I want to, but I don't want him to die. I know if I don't see him, it means he didn't die. And so I'm going to say no because he's such a good boy. I want him to just be okay.
Yeah, I hate that, but I'm going to agree with you. Soup, how about yourself? Do we see Terror again?
I think we would do it better because he's the one that saves the fucking world, you know?
I mean, if he's the one who fucks Homelander to death, there is some That is a
Yeah.
theory that's going on. Like they give him the V1 and the V and all the things, and he fucks Homelander to death. I would be there for that. How about the extended family here? We have Annie's mom. We met Annie's dad. We have Huey's mom. You have Cherie, kind of Frenchie's old beau. You have little Nina. Soup, do you think any of those kind of ancillary characters are showing up in any meaningful fashion? Or if they do, it's kind of just at the very end of the denouement?
Might just be the end of the denouement there, man.
What do you think, Jamie G?
I think it's the end of the road. I don't know that we're getting anybody. I don't know that I don't know if there's time for any of that. It just I don't know that it moves the needle enough to incorporate it.
One of my predictions is that Sage kind of uses her online social acumen, intelligence, whatever you want to call it, and kind of unites some of the characters we've already seen. Countess Crow, Annie's dad, kind of these people who are going to come out online and be like, oh, Vaughn is not what you think they are. Jamie G, do you think that's a reasonable place they could go with some of the characters they have set up already? Or do you think there's a chance that they just ultimately ignore all of it?
I think it's totally reasonable, and it would actually do something with Sage. Like have her be mass manipulation like she did working against, to try to bring like Starlighters and people starting to see the truth behind Homelander for what it is. I think that would be really powerful and impactful of her. I would be for that.
You think this makes sense, Soup? Like maybe if Sage is going to do something, it's like the reverse social media thing?
Yeah, 100%, dude. I mean, like, what else is she going to be good for at this point, really, man? I think that she needs to kind of redeem herself at where she's at right now, in the status of herself with whatever kind of situation she wants to be involved in right now, man. I mean, her situation with Homelander is definitely fucked. If she wants to stay alive with the boys, that might be fucked too. She thinks she can go and fucking live on her own, but apparently that might be fucked also. So she might be just totally fucked too. So her having to be humble right now might be a big deal, man. But gotta play it smart and be the smartest person in the world. Hopefully she figures it out.
Well, you know what Butcher would say
Right.
about that. First you don't succeed, find another hole to fuck. JBG, if you think we're gonna get one random cameo in the finale, would it be Madeline Stillwell or is Samuel L. Jackson coming back as Sandra the Shark?
Ah, man, as much as I would love it to be Sammy, I'm gonna go with Madison Stillwell.
Soup, Stillwell, or Xander the Shark?
I think the likelihood is probably Elizabeth's shoe, but yeah,
More like
that
Elizabeth
would,
Schwing, but yeah, I'm going
I like
Xander.
to see either one actually, man. So whatever, but the likelihood is Stillwell, yeah.
I think we've talked about Soldier Boy possibly getting bailed out. Jamie G, I referred to it, minor spoilers here for Better Call Saul, but the narrative of that show extended past the Breaking Bad timeline. Would you be okay if they leave Soldier Boy on ice so that like it ultimately pays off at the end of All Rising?
I guess. Uh,
As long as
yeah,
this show is a good ending, right? Then more power to you. But if it takes away from the ending of this show, then fuck that shit, right?
yeah. I guess it depends on how they do that. It could potentially be okay, but that's a long way to go, and it's a lot of speculation. I mean, we'll see.
Soup, how about the Deep? We see him in the teaser. Do you think he has a big role to play? Do you want him to have a big role to play? What do you want from the Deep here? What do you think's going to happen?
His story could have ended right there in the scene behind me. That's it. Done. No more deep. Everybody knows that he's fucked. He has to live out his days like this. But the fact is, we've seen him in the trailer, so we know his character is going forward. I think it's overkill. Unless you're gonna make him a big part of it, this is a worthy fucking end of Deep. Make it worth it if you're gonna have him in the last episode.
Jamie G, does Annie get to be the one to take the Deep out, given, the way it started out with him, forcing her to basically blow him like with sexual assault, way back in season one?
I hope so. That would be super just, dude. That would be super duper just.
So, what would you prefer? Annie kills the Deep or the sea creatures fill the Deep?
I gotta go see creatures, man. No question, dude.
I would go Jamie G, give me column A, column B, that Annie just takes the deep up and then drops him in the ocean knowing what will happen.
Yeah, assist. I like the assist. You know, any
Yeah,
assist
I
you
think
can
that
give
kind of makes
yourself in.
everybody happy. And then let's just ask one of the biggest questions, Jamie G, the hugest Hail Mary of it all, the Kamiko, like giving her the soldier power blast power. It even sounds awkward. Do you think that will work and do you want it to?
This is tough. I don't think it should work. If she was the one that saves everything for Frenchie, there would be some sort of poetic justice in that that I could maybe appreciate. But I guess I'm probably leaning no and no on this one.
I don't really want her to, but I'm kind of getting more progressively worried that the show is actually going to go there and at least use it in
Yeah.
some form of narrative form or fashion. What do you think, Soup? Do you want him to use the Kamiko power here? Is it okay? It's a late game Hail Mary. How are you feeling about this?
You know, I'm with the late game Hail Mary on this one. I think the way the show's going, it almost needs something like that. Can't be anything predictable because we already would have predicted it. Got to have a shocker out there. Got to have a hit you in the head with a sledgehammer moment. You know,
Right back at you,
idea.
Soup. Is this a case if Kamiko uses the blast, she knows she's going to die, and she does that?
You know what? But I think she would. Like, I mean,
I feel like it's more likely after she lost Frenchie, right, Jamie G? Like if Kamiko
absolutely.
knows
Fuck
it's full
yeah.
end game, but now that if Frenchie's off the board, it's more likely that she would sacrifice herself, right?
Yeah. 100%, dude. I mean, I think now she's feeling a higher calling to do this for real. Like that she was living for Frenchie, right? Although I wouldn't be mad if she ends up living and gets to just have a dog and volunteer at a elementary school or something like that would be totally fine with me too.
I would be 100% there for that. Let's split the difference here. Who is more likely to get the happy ending, Jamie G? We have MM. Could he wind up, after kind of having a little bit of epiphany here, go back to his family? Or is it going to be Huey and Annie? They wind up getting free and clear, being able to live whatever life they'd like going forward. What do you think is more likely, MM or Huey and Annie? Who gets the happy ending?
Man, because they brought MM back, it makes me think maybe I'm gonna lean that way. But I'm gonna go Huey and Annie here.
I think I'm also going Huey and Andy. What do you think, Soup? More likely to get the happy ending. MM, is he reuniting with his family, or is it Huey and Annie kind of doing their own thing going forward?
I feel like it's leaning towards Huey and Annie big time. You know, it's got to be almost at this point. So that's where I'm going.
Yeah, it kind of feels like they're doing the thing where they're setting MM up with all this good character development, so he can, unfortunately die to serve
An easy
everything.
way out. Not an easy way out, but a comfortable way out. Or
I mean,
whatever.
I think it's obvious that Butcher won't survive the events of the finale. But Soup, what do you think? Does Butcher get to be the one who takes out Homelander? Yes or no? Make it real easy.
I'm gonna go with. Oh man, you know what? No, I'm going no.
Jamie G, is Butcher the one who punches Homelander's ticket?
I don't think there's any one person. I'm gonna say he's part of a team that does.
I'm
Well,
going to go yes. I can't tell if that's necessarily influenced by the comics or not. Jamie G, right back at you. Does Butcher die of his own accord, or does somebody we know take him out? And if so, who is it?
I just think it's his own accord, man. I think he goes out his own way, or that, or it's Homelander.
I'm going to go with Ryan is ultimately the one who has to take Butcher out. Soup, what do you think? Does Butcher kind of go out on his own, or does someone else take him out? And if so, who is it?
I feel like it can only be Ryan, really. You know, maybe Huey in a weird way.
Yeah, or I mean, maybe he has to go all the way back to stick something up his ass, right? Like to call back to killing Translucent early in season one.
In a weird way, it could be Huey. In a weird way, it could be Huey, man. I don't know.
And then the biggest question, we obviously have the Homelander here. I think it's assumed that he would die. Jamie G, would you be okay if there was a version of this show that ended where literally the bad guy wins, where Homelander just either nukes the earth or just wins? Like, would you be okay with that? I'm not saying you'd like it, but would you be okay with it?
I think I would. Like if it's just basically like at the end of this, the last thing you see is just him with every person basically on Earth dead, and he's just alone to have to deal with that. I think I would be okay with that. I wouldn't like it, but I mean, like I think I could live with it.
I think I like it better with that idea that he is stuck alone forever. I think that kind of speaks towards the ending, like some people think, where he might get depowered and forced to like live as a regular human or whatever. Soup, what do you think here, man? Is you think there's a chance that Homelander really goes like all the way in and literally just nukes the planet, basically?
I mean, it could happen. I think that'd be a shitty way to end it, but it would be a way to end it, you know. So,
Well, let me ask you, Soup, right back at you. Gun to your head right now, without thinking about it, what would be your preferred ending? You want the happy ending, the Scooby Doo ending, something in between? What are you thinking?
I think everybody wants a happy ending, you know, but I wanted something that's satisfying, whether it's happy or not, you know, and I don't know that I
So the
get that.
bittersweet ending. It sounds like you're pitching the bittersweet ending.
Something that'll leave me satisfied knowing that, you know, that's the end of the show. And that's a hard thing for shows to accomplish when they're ending. So I'm looking for that. If anything, I just want that out of the wrap up of this
So
show.
not the bittersweet symphony, but the bittersweet closure. Jamie G, how about yourself, man? What are you looking for going into the finale?
I'm looking for a way to wrap up this story to where that I'm not going to say, man, they needed another season, or man, we didn't get an ending. Just some sort of finality. I'm okay as long as it's some sort of finality. And even if I don't love it in the moment, as long as there's some sort of finality, I'm okay with that. That's really all I'm asking for.
Yeah, we need some closure, man. Gotta have some closure, dude.
I'm there with you 100%. This can't just be purely a vehicle for Vault Rising or whatever. Like, this needs to be the end of the story that we've been building to. So I think that's generally what we're hoping for. And while we're not as optimistic as we were going into the episode, we always like a good surprise.
End of the day, I think there's a lot to be excited about here, and we're mostly excited about you. Thank you for being with us for the boys, Compound B. We really appreciate you watching, listening to us. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you like and subscribe. We got one more of these left. I'm sure we'll probably recap it and we'll see what happens with the spinoffs. But man, we can't wait to break down the series finale with you. I can't even believe those words are real, and we're here. Appreciate you checking this out. If let us know what your thoughts are. You can drop a comment wherever you watched or listened to this, or you can hit us up on our social media, and those will let you know where you can find our stuff.
We hope you're enjoying the boys because that's the point. If you want to hate watch, go for it. If you want to hate watch us, that's fine. But we'd rather you like watch us. And thank you for hopefully liking and enjoying this episode of Compound B, a show about the boys. We are presented by Regular Dudes Watch Stuff. You can find our content wherever you get your pods and on YouTube. We're on social media at Dudes Watch Stuff and on the World Wide Web at dudeswatchstuff.com. Very simple, very easy to remember, just like those flaps. FLAPS. Follow, like, and please subscribe. If you had fun, please touch the thumb. I am Magnum Mills with Jamie G and the Soupdeucer, and the Soup has the biggest job, the most important job. He has to tell us what the B in the Compound B stands for on this episode, the penultimate episode. Soup, no pressure. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I don't know, man. A lot of fucking bees on the option board here, man. It is a beehive. Many bees, but I've got to go with I've got to go with the B stands for bone. There's a lot left on this bone. A lot left on it.
To the bone so I could